Hey, welcome to 2 Cents episode 90. It's April 2nd, 2017. This is the Live on Dr. News show here at Dollar Reviews. We cover tech, TV, movies, streaming, virtual reality, all kinds of different things. There's going to be a good amount of technology this week and also Cinemacon news. I'm Brian Gillis. You can follow our show at Dollar Reviews on Twitter. That's Dollar Reviews. It's also dollarreviews.net. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook, Instagram, WordPress, Tumblr. You can listen to us on Google Play Music, iTunes, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, TuneIn. If you can think of it, we're probably there. And I'm not alone. I'm here with Stephen Mominex.
How do you do?
I do fine, except my tongue, like I said. I just want to do some follow-up. Last week I began the show talking about the lizard that I got. This week I let him go. I freed him. I let him back into his natural environment. It was a little earlier than planned. Originally I was going to let his tail grow back because it fell off. But he just wasn't happy. He didn't seem like he enjoyed captivity. He wasn't eating. He was kind of just sitting in the same spot all day. And so I took the box
It's like
outside.
it's about time, right?
Yeah, I took the box outside. It was sunny. He liked that, and then I tipped the box over. I was like, "Hey, you can go if you want." And he was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." And he walked out, and I took some videos, took some pictures. I inadvertently threw a bottle cap at his head, and I've seen that video 4 or 5 different times, and it's hilarious. Just because it was such an accident, but if you watch it, it seems like something that some asshole would do for Jackass or something. It's like, no, it was an accident. But yeah, he's back in the world. Maybe he's dead by now. I don't know. Well, I don't have to think about it either. It's catch and release. Yeah. Hope you're doing well, Bit, wherever you are. You're probably under my house right now. But yeah, have a good one. Couple big things happened this week, but nothing spectacular. It's mostly going to be cell phone news, some pretty big VR things, and then also, like I said, Cinemacon, where a lot was shown off. To begin with, if you guys aren't familiar with Cinemacon, it is the annual meeting of film exhibition companies, so they can show off the new ideas, not just in terms of merchandise, but also food and beverages, as well as a time for the studios to show their new tent poles, so the exhibitors can just get an idea, get excited, kind of push tickets in a big way. And so the big surprise that happened at CinemaCon was that Universal actually screened Fate and the Furious for the lobby group, which is cool. But then also, who the fuck cares, because they were going to see it for free anyway, and they're embargoed, so they can't talk about it, and the movie is about to come out anyway.
But everybody
so
tweeted about it, and they're all happy about it, so...
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to be running down a lot of news pretty fast. It's going to take about an hour and a half. It's split up basically 30, 30, 30. It's 30 minutes for the teasers, 20, 30 minutes for VR, usually a little bit less than that, and then about 30 minutes for the headline. So if you want to hear the bigger stories, you can skip ahead about an hour. Otherwise, you can play with us. And if you like what you hear, you just support our content, you like what we're doing, we do it for free, you can support it with your money. This is Dollar Reviews, and we'd buy that for $1, and you can buy us. Go to patreon.com/Dollar Reviews. You can see our price points. It starts at $1, and every dollar helps. It goes up to about 500, I think. No, it's 1,000, 1,500, whatever. There's a joke at the high point. Well, there's some serious things on there, most notably that you could buy ad space on this show for as little as $50 a month, and there's 3 ad spots, so if you really want to do $150, and we just pitch you 3 continuous times every episode for 4 weeks. But you can check that out. It'd be really cool, and the reason I mention that is because we're going to have several ad breaks that aren't real, but it could be you. So to begin off, I'm going to start in wake of that Snapchat joke I made last week about MGM finding a distributor. They actually found a real distribution partner this week, which is kind of cool. Except it's not them who are going to get distributed, it's more so them distributing others. So they've teamed with Annapurna. They're going to handle their international releases as well as theatrical VOD as well. And so the bigger ones this year are, what's her name?
Megan Nelson.
No, Catherine Bigelow, her Detroit Riots movie, which is coming out sometime later this year. I think it's pegged for November currently. That's going to be Annapurna's first international release, and MGM's going to help out with that. Along other things, maybe TV. You got to remember Annapurna just got into video games too, so maybe they could get in touch with that. Maybe MGM's games get developed by Annapurna. Who knows? But it is a partnership that's kind of important because Annapurna is one of the bigger indie studios that gets big talent, and MGM is the smallest major. So when you put those two together,
all they've been doing is just remaking their stuff.
Well, that's all they really can do.
Yeah.
They don't have the money.
It's
They
been like
don't
that for
have the
years.
power.
Either it's Bond or The Hobbit or just remakes of RoboCop and Magnificent Seven and
You say
whatever
the
else is in the
Hobbit?
catalog. Yeah.
MGM's involved with I thought it was New Line, 100% New Line.
No, well, no, the MGM logo's on there, and yeah, it was New Line, but that was a big thing. That's why Del Toro couldn't do it because MGM had the rights, and then they also didn't have money, so they couldn't move ahead and do it. But
Huh.
then, as soon as they got financing, then that's when Del Toro had left already.
Was that because did they distribute the animated movie from the 70s or whatever?
Uh,
That's why
I
Warner Brothers owns those Tolkien properties, so that's strange to me.
yeah, no, I'm not sure how it went down, but yeah, there's the Warner Brothers New Line logo on the Hobbit films, but then there's also the MGM logo. So
But that's just proof that I haven't seen those Hobbit films. Probably won't also, so whatever. Bigger news, more importantly, this is a follow-up to a couple of weeks ago to the Oscar So What the Fuck episode. It's also been called Envelope Gate. If you aren't familiar, I don't know how you would be if you found the show. Basically, at this most recent Academy Awards ceremony, the Best Picture envelope, there was a mishap. It originally was awarded to La La Land, and then it turns out it was actually for Midnight, and they did a switcheroo on the spot a la Steve Harvey. And what ended up happening was Brian Cullinan, one of the accountants responsible for working not just at the Oscars, but also PricewaterhouseCoopers,
yeah.
was the person in blame because this motherfucker who prides himself in being a Matt Damon lookalike, who he does actually kind of look like Matt Damon, was not doing his job. He was tweeting backstage with envelopes in hand. He didn't give the right envelope to the presenters, and the actual presenter, mind you, was Warren Beatty, which is a kind of big deal. And so originally, it took the Academy like 24 to 48 hours to even do a press release about what happened, and they initially said, yeah, we are not going to work with him again. Fuck him. And yet he stayed at the company. And so they followed that up, and they
He must
actually
be a
have...
damn good accountant then.
I guess so. Yeah. Or, they don't care about these kind of things because they got it right in the first place.
It kind of is a dumb incident. And, I mean, to fire... it's not like they were not going to come back because, they've been working together like 80 years or something?
Almost, yeah.
One severe mishap like this, they would let that slide.
We knew that they were probably going to work with them still, but they 100% announced it. They're going to continue working with the firm. And the way that they hope to circumvent any other possibilities of this kind of thing happening again is both Brian Cullinan and his accounting partner, who's on the other side of the stage, they are out. Who knows what they're going to be doing, but they are out. There's going to be 3 now instead of 2, the one on each side of the stage, also one in the control room that oversees everything. That way that is like the god, like the eye in the sky. So hopefully
it's the right envelope that's being sent out.
Probably, yeah. But hopefully this doesn't happen again because just there's more information about Brian Cullinan. This is how stupid this guy is. The night before the ceremony, he hosted an Oscars party at his house, and he was bragging about knowing the winners beforehand. Like, this does not sound like someone that should have ever been working at the Oscars. Like, this is the same guy that was...
like someone that would work at the Oscars.
This is the same guy that was pushing the producers to have him in a skit when he had been in a skit just 2 or 3 years prior. This is someone who, mind you, was tweeting during the ceremony while working at the ceremony, which isn't okay unless you work for like E! Entertainment Tonight or like ABC or something. Unless you're like an actual reporter.
It sounds like some TMZ type of guy, even though it's a fucking accountant, right?
Yeah, it's like an accountant. This is someone ideally that had at least 4 or 5 years of college, is like not a major partner, but like a junior partner at the very least at this firm, has probably been working there for years and years, and has been doing the Oscars, I think, for like the last, or had been doing the Oscars, this is in the past tense now, for like 8 or 9 years. Like, he 100% the star fucker, loves taking pictures with celebrities, wants to be a celebrity, like and he's going to keep his job. You work in the food service industry, I work in the retail industry. I know for a fact that if either of us were caught tweeting on the job, that we would get reprimanded or fired, especially if the situation was that we totally fucked up a customer's order, And the fact that this guy is not even getting slapped on the wrist, and matter of fact, he's actually more famous now than before this happened. It's like, did he do this on purpose? Was it a joke? Like, it took them several minutes to even figure out that they made a mistake.
Unless
Probably
you want to get to the
because
conspiracy theory of it, which is that people were just constantly going on between La La Land and Moonlight, and what better way to just sensationalize that stupid battle of, oh no, Moonlight better fucking win, because if La La Land wins, I'll be fucking pissed. You know?
maybe.
Like, because right when I heard about that, I was just like, wow, that is terrible.
Except I've actually
Like,
seen the tweets that he made, and I've seen the picture of him backstage holding the red envelopes and his phone in the same hand.
Yeah, but I mean,
So
the issue of like how people reacted to that, where people were tweeting like La La Land won, I'm done. Oh wait, Moonlight fucking won. What the fuck's going on? You know, it's just terrible timing, I guess, as far as the social issue there that really
it's a great.
is getting sensationalized when it shouldn't, but of course it's going to.
Good luck to the Oscars. I don't know if I'll be tuning in next year because the ceremony kind of sucked in more ways than just that one.
Yeah, I didn't bother. Like I'm kind of just done with it, honestly.
It's a little too much. It doesn't really matter, especially because, it's like 3 hours of your life that you can't get back.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, not anything that impressive ever happens. Like, yeah, there's some routines that are funny, but then you can just go on YouTube and type in, like, best Oscar moments, and you can probably find them. Or you can just be on Twitter and you can read people reacting. Like, I think I enjoy watching the Oscars to do the live tweeting, and I didn't even do it this year because I had work. So
I don't
whatever.
know why, if it's just that award shows are not appealing to me anymore, because as a kid, like, yeah, I would enjoy watching it. You know, I would be exposed to a ton of stuff and know what to seek out after that, but I don't know, now it's just like, you know?
See, I didn't watch the Oscars until I was like in late high school. I just had
Yeah.
never really watched any award show, like with the exception of one or two MTV Movie Awards, which is now the MTV Movie TV Awards, which is, hey, pretty cool that they're gonna, kind of do like the Golden Globes thing and award both mediums at the same time. It's the first time they're doing that. But it's like
Yeah.
part the spectacle, part who wins. But when it comes to the Oscars, I'm more interested in what goes on in the night and the way people are dressed and the fuck ups like this, the in memoriam section, for instance, who gets left out more so than anything else, like because
Or a picture of somebody that's still alive.
yeah,
You
like
know?
I already have my fucking end of the year lists and shit. Like I don't need the Academy to decide for me.
Yeah,
'Cause
there was times where like I was interested by that. I think it was like around 2009 that I realized, wait, like I don't feel that these are the best movies by any stretch. So, and I don't know, then you look at more and more people on the internet going like, no, this is like, this is what I like, and everyone's got different views, and it's weird. The internet's kind of made it so that award shows are just kind of unimportant now.
Well, it's just the idea of social media. Like when you
Yeah.
break it down to what it means, like these are the people that you socialize with, and yet they are also doing the media's job. In particular, something like Facebook. When we're recording the day after April Fool's Day, and Facebook is like the biggest joke on the internet usually. But then on April Fool's Day, it's like everyone thinks they're a fucking stand-up comic. Oh, I got married, everyone, ha ha ha. It's like
I stayed away from it, so I
it's
don't
like
even know.
the people that fall for it are jackasses, and then you're an asshole.
Yeah, the
Like,
best one that I heard, which like if you watch the video, of course it's fake, but GTA, or there was a GTA
oh yeah, AMC trailer
show
or
announced on
something.
AMC, and it was like, oh, yeah, okay, that sounds kind of cool. And then you watch, it's like from the creator of Breaking Bad. It's like, no, this isn't Vince Gilligan at all, like at all.
No, I bought GTA 5 this week against my better judgment. I got a real good deal. I had like a buy two get one free, so
Yeah.
I got GTA 5, the Doom reboot, and that Riggs game that I talked about on 2 cents like 3 weeks ago for $65. So it's like $20 a piece, which
It's
is
not too bad.
pretty cheap. Yeah. So anyway, I'm not even planning to play it. It's like I was trying to explain to the person when I bought it. I was like, I don't even want it. They're like, well, why the fuck are you buying this? Like, I didn't exactly spell it out. I was like, I literally have like every other Grand Theft Auto game. Like, I feel obligated to complete my physical collection because why the fuck not? Like, I don't know. I've already played it. I'll play it again. They add more support. It gets better every year or every time they do it. Every year actually, GTA Online. Anyway, like I said, there's a big tech release this week, and what it is the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus, mind you. Samsung showed off their new flagship. They're available for pre-order right now, and it's actually coming April 21st, so they're almost here. Making a deposit, mind you, also secures a free Gear VR, which is $129 and comes with their new wireless touch controller, which is worth pre-ordering basically for it. Like I'm almost due for a new phone. I was thinking about getting this one. Yeah, like the VR kind of got built from the ground up too. Like improved resolution. It's supposed to fit better. It has an onboard VR web browser, among other things. I think also if you pre-order from certain outlets, you get like $50 of Oculus Store money, so you could buy a whole bunch of content that way. So if you haven't jumped on the VR bandwagon, if you don't have a virtual reality device yet, and you need a new phone, and you want, arguably one of the better ones available everywhere, I would definitely pick up the Samsung Galaxy S8 or the S8 Plus if you want an even better VR experience. The only thing is that it's very expensive, so expensive that it's $750 for the base model, $850 for the Plus model, but every purchase comes with AKG Harman Kardon earbuds that are worth $100 by themselves. But this thing has all of the bells and whistles, or almost all of them anyway. It has what they call a wraparound Infinity AMOLED Quad HD Plus HDR display. So if you've seen the Galaxy S7 Edge or any of the Edge devices, it wraps around like that on both sides, but it almost has no bezel on either the left or right side of the phone. The top and bottom still have something. They got rid of the tactile buttons. Now it's all on the screen. There's its own digital assistant called Bixby, which has a dedicated hotkey on the side. It has Bluetooth 5.0. It's the first time a mobile device has that, which is going to allow for cool things such as listening to the same music on two separate wireless headphones at the same time, which is cool. But fingerprint scanner, water, dust resistant, headphone jack, micro SD support, fingerprint reader, iris scanner. The only thing it doesn't have is 4K. Like I said, it has Quad HD Plus. Don't get fooled by the name. That is not a 4K resolution, but it's close enough. And then also, there's not much 4K that you could do on your phone anyway. So if you do want 4K HDR, still pick up the pick up the Sony Xperia ZX or XZ, I think it is, premium, which I want, but is in the same price range. And like I said, is not available everywhere, and you don't get this VR headset. So yeah, that's one I'd pick up because Oculus still has a lot of exclusives on content, especially games, and even better than that, promotional tie-in stuff or stuff like Suicide Squad. And I've used it, and it's with this controller especially, it's on par, I would assume, with the with the Google Daydream devices. It's been speculated that this might not support Daydream, though, which makes sense because Samsung has their own VR arm, and they have their own partner, so they don't even need Daydream in the first place. And I think Gear VR can do all the cardboard stuff, so you're not going to be missing out on anything besides like certain exclusive apps and games, like the Harry Potter thing they got.
Well, in the case of Samsung, let's just hope it doesn't blow up on planes,
That's fucking one time, man. And
yeah, that's one time, but that's still enough to get people on edge right now.
I don't think so. Like
Galaxy is not the best.
Samsung
it's not exactly,
is no way. Samsung is such a big brand that people have pretty much forgotten about that. The coolest thing about that news story too.
Airlines haven't. They still say it every time.
No, all those phones are gone now. They don't exist anymore. The coolest thing about them though, their processes they did. They had a recall where you had to send your phone back and you got a new one, and they are taking those recall devices, refurbishing them, and I think they're selling them in Korea or something. Like they're selling them in their hometown, which is kind of cool. Like they made up for it. But no, like Samsung, they make so much shit. Like people didn't stop buying their TVs and their tablets and their Gear VR and their watches and their cameras. Like they actually announced
they're still pretty much underwater. Like their shit is not exactly.
No, this is exactly the same as Volkswagen. Everyone forgot about them lying about diesel emissions. No one cares anymore. Like the Samsung thing was so far back that no one cares. Like it
doesn't. Less than a year ago.
That's a long time though. I've had my I've had my PlayStation Virtual Reality for 6 months now. It's been half a year since I got that.
People remember that they don't. People. If I ask someone on the street, they'll probably say no. They don't want it.
Well, they also don't want it probably because they can't afford it. Like I said, that's a lot of money for a cell phone. Like that's more money than I paid for my cell phone, and it does basically everything that this one does, except mine didn't come with headphones. It also has no HDR.
Well, at least they got a headphone jack. That's a step in the right direction compared to Apple.
No. Apple had a step in the wrong direction. This is the same.
This
is everyone
is a step
still
in the right direction.
It's not a step. It's the same step that everyone's taken. The only people that did no headphones were Apple for the new iPhone, which it's been rumored that they're going to bring it back next year because why the fuck wouldn't they? Because they were stupid in the first place. And then who did it? Motorola took it out of one phone also. But it was only really 2 devices. Everyone else wasn't stupid. They're not trying to reinvent the headphone jack. Because it's a timeless artifact. It's been around
it's a
since
step in the right direction.
Eh,
in that you don't take a step away from that direction.
sure.
Yeah.
We're talking about VR for a second there, and there's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
lot more in our dedicated VR section. But this is something kind of bridges the gap between VR and movies. One of the things that they showed off at CinemaCon that no one knew about going in, and still no one knows about because that's the way the cookie crumbles. Wesley Snipes is starring in this cabin retreat alien invasion flick called The Recall that I have no interest in seeing. But it's noteworthy because, one, it's going to have a 13-minute VR experience that sets up the film, and two, it's going to be exhibited in the Barco Escape huge panoramic release. If you've never heard of Barco before, it kind of takes the idea of the Cinerama
widescreen thing.
Mm-hmm. It's like Cinerama or IMAX, but
Like Star
even
Trek was
bigger.
the last one to do it, I think.
Yeah, but that wasn't native. Like they added some extra
No, they
shit.
created scenes for that one specifically. There were other
Yeah,
ones
a
before
little
it
bit.
where they kind of converted it or something, but
But it sounds
I know
like
Into
this.
Darkness, they at least designed sequences around it.
It sounds like The Recall movie is actually shot from the ground up to use the format. Like I said, it also has VR, and just proof of this is that after its Barco release, because it's gonna have like a 2 week stint where it's only available there. It's gonna be available in 2D, just standard theaters, but it's not gonna be for long. And that 2D release starts day and date with video on demand. So this is basically a spectacle film. They want you to go see it in the special way. If this VR experience is free, I'll check it out. And hey, I do want to do Barco, but not for this one.
The big thing you're skipping over is Wesley Snipes is out of jail now?
He's been out of jail. He was in the
For how long?
Expendables 3.
Was he?
There's a big joke in the Expendables 3 about him being out of jail.
Well,
They
I have not
they
even seen it.
literally they
No
literally
one saw that movie.
I saw it. They literally break him out of jail in the movie, and there's a joke, and they're like, "Why were you in jail?" He went, "Tax evasion."
And that's it.
Yeah, like that's how long ago he's been out of jail for like 6 years now or something like that.
Oh, man. Yeah,
5 years.
I have not seen him in anything like since the 90s.
Blade 2 came out in 2002.
Yeah, and Blade 3 came out in like 2005.
So you've
That's-
definitely
yeah,
seen
it's
him
like
in
12
something
years
since
ago.
the 90s. Like,
He's not been in that much, man.
well, there's no reason for me that much anymore. Like, he did his Blade run. That was his only real hot thing. Before that, he was like a big actor in the 90s and late 80s, but he kind of, his ship sailed even before he went to prison. Like, he's just, I've heard mixed things about him. He's an asshole. He thinks he can kick anyone's ass because he's like a
Yeah.
martial arts master or whatever. Some actors are hot, and then some of them stay hot. And he got in enough financial trouble and just like public image that I guess no one wants to work with him. But he's if you check his IMDb, he does under the radar B shit, and this is just like the latest in that. Just it has like a big release. I think that he's due though. That it would be cool if he did get some kind of comeback chance outside of the Expendables series, as they are continuing that. Expendables 4 is coming out sometime soon. I think it was announced this week that Sylvester Stallone is actually stepping down from the franchise, which is interesting because it's his baby. So I guess maybe Jason Statham is the front of it now. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back for that because what else is he
I'm
gonna fucking
surprised
do?
they're continuing it after the third one did so poorly. Like,
Yeah, it was not good.
granted, there's a lot of things against it. There was the PG-13 rating, but also piracy. And
Yeah, the piracy was pretty big.
yeah, who knows?
Well, there's a whole section of who knows. Usually we don't cover rumors because we don't have time for that. We like talking about the real news. That's what you care about.
Yeah.
But these rumors are so good that I do care about them. I'm pretty sure Steve does too, and I hope you do as well.
No, I
Because
don't care about rumors like at all.
No, this one is pretty juicy. This came out right when CinemaCon started. Joss Whedon apparently is in talks to write and direct Batgirl for DC.
Mm-hmm.
Totally makes sense. He's worked with Warner Brothers on female content before. Buffy, most notably, was on the CW, or not the CW, the WB, which kind of started the whole girls kicking ass trend, especially in the modern era. He writes really good female characters, and he's already been really good at Marvel. He doesn't want to work with them anymore because, hey, they have way too much fucking control over all their properties. DC's already proven between what they did with David Ayer and with Zack Snyder that that's not true on the other side, outside of, hey, we're going to butcher your movie and put it out as a theatrical release. Outside of that one situation, they let directors do what they want to do. I don't think this is a rumor. I think this is real, and they're going to say it's real at Comic-Con, which is just a couple of weeks from now. So
No, that's Oh wait, no, not San Diego. New York, right?
I'm talking about well, oh yeah, San Diego's in the summer.
Yeah, like way, way later
Well,
down the
even
line.
even still, maybe they announce this right before Wonder Woman comes out, which is in 2 months, 3 months, 2 months.
Maybe. I mean, honestly, you're right. I don't care about rumors, so hey, if it happens, then
This one seems real though. I just
it
especially
could.
because
At the same time, though, I mean, he just did like one hot superhero property. It's like, does he really want
two.
to keep doing that? Like, I don't know. Does he want to keep being pigeonholed as that? Because it's like I think he's
That's his
been
audience.
yeah, but I think he's been outspoken lately of wanting to do some of his own stuff and create some new stuff,
See, that's
especially
the
after
thing
Age
though.
of Ultron.
He's tweeted a good couple of times since this rumor broke out, and he didn't go, guys, stop making shit up. April Fool's Day, ha ha ha, you got us. No, like he even went a step further, and he tweeted a picture of like a fan cast for the live action Hunchback of Notre Dame, and he was like, oh yeah, like this is actually kind of fucking good. I want to do this one, but someone like him, he would say no unless he is doing it, and then why would he say no? Because it's real. Like
Fair
I
enough.
think this one is gonna happen. Who they would cast as Batgirl is the question. I'm curious. This one is a much bigger fucking maybe. It's in the same realm of reality. But Aaron Sorkin is apparently meeting with Marvel and DC this week or over the next couple of weeks. He wants to do that. I think this is viable because Molly's Game, his first directing job, he just finished. They showed some of it at CinemaCon, so we're going to have a trailer for that in a week or two.
Hmm.
And the fact is that he is actually having these meetings. It's just, it doesn't mean anything yet. But whatever, take that with a grain of salt. And then we're just going to go further and further up the what the fuck that's not happening totem pole. Robert Rodriguez might be doing the Escape from New York reboot at Fox, which we
How
talked
many
about.
things does he have on his plate?
Yeah, he has a real thing on his plate. He's actually going to be directing this film for STX Animation called The Ugly Dolls. It's based on the Ugly Dolls toy line, which I've never heard of before. It has a release date. It's May 19th, 2019. It's produced by Troublemaker Studios, his own production company, and
Hmm.
it's also his first time doing animation, so that's cool. So, given that that already has a date, it's possible that he could do this too, but CinemaCon just happened, so unless they're doing Comic Con also, like the Batgirl thing, I doubt it. But then if you want the real, you're fucking crazy, Jordan Peele might be the Kira director. So I say fuck you to whoever came up with that rumor. That's not happening. You don't go from $10 million micro budget horror at Blumhouse to super
Yeah.
fucking huge anime property that people have been waiting for an American version for like 30 years. Like I
No, you
don't.
do. Gareth Edwards can jump from monsters to fucking a major Godzilla movie and then a Star Wars movie after that. Fucking
I don't see it.
Scott Derrickson, even though he had more experience then, did Sinister and then jumped to Doctor Strange after that. Oh wait, no, there
Or
was Deliver Us from Evil after that actually.
American Graffiti to Star Wars,
Yeah.
fucking safety not guaranteed to Jurassic World. Like,
Yeah, no,
it's
like
not,
these days it's not
it's not,
uncommon to
it's
get
not, yeah, it's not unprecedented.
yeah,
Okay,
it's like you
but
don't go after high profile directors for this
think
stuff anymore. You try to get people to do a big
all
jump.
of
James Wan,
all of these
even though he had good
no,
relationships with Warner Brothers, I
he
mean,
did a lot of shit. Yeah,
yeah, but
James Wan's the bad example.
But he's a Blumhouse guy. Like he revived his career through Blumhouse.
Mm,
Because after Saw, yeah, like that was kind of it, and then his career was kind of in the shitter until Insidious happened.
well, he's
Yeah, he
before he
was
did
pretty low on the
Aquaman.
radar for a while and struggled to come back.
He's filming Aquaman already, which is cool. They started filming that the day after CinemaCon. Like, I guess they had like a quick Justice League thing, and Khal Drogo himself was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Australia tomorrow. We're going to start
Did that
filming."
officially wrap
What?
Justice League?
Oh yeah, big time, man.
Like, aren't there two parts though to work on?
No, they have a sequel.
No?
It's not Infinity War 1, Infinity War 2. This is that they have a Justice League 1 and a Justice League 2, but it's not like a direct sequel. It's just the second time that the team up's happening. So
Mm.
no, like Zack Snyder's not on vacation yet. Like they're still doing posts, like
Yeah.
doing the audio work and everything and CG and
Yeah,
whatnot.
they still got plenty of time.
Yeah, they got a lot of time, but yeah, they wrapped that. They wrapped that so big that fucking Wonder Woman just gave birth like 2 weeks ago. Gal Gadot has a kid already. Like she just delivered it. Like I actually got in like a little conversation on Twitter with this lady because Zack Snyder tweeted a picture that said "me and my boys" and it's all of the Justice League characters besides Wonder Woman. And she was like, "What about your girl though?" Hashtag Wonder Woman. I was like, she literally just gave birth. Do you want her working already? She was like, "Oh, I didn't know that. Congrats." I was like, So you're negative about Zack Snyder's tweet, and then never mind. It doesn't even matter.
Just leave it alone.
Yeah,
Man.
no, I did leave it alone.
It
but
is so easy to fall for traps on the
I just
internet.
looked at something like that. I was like, dude, like I follow her on Instagram. If you're gonna be replying to the director like that, maybe you should follow her on Instagram. She's interesting on there. So yeah, here's the last possible thing, and this is because this one I think is 100% happening, unlike those other four. As much as I would like Batgirl to be by Joss Whedon, Blumhouse might be snatching the Five Nights at Freddy's property from Warner Brothers, which is kind of in turnaround right now. I think they've owned the franchise rights for like 3 or 4 years or something like that. And if you don't know what this is, which I would guess that you don't, Steve, it's a huge horror franchise for the younger crowd. I hesitate to call it a video game. It's like, I mean, it is a video game, but you can only play it on your phone and tablet and PC. So it's not actually on home consoles or even portable consoles for that matter. But it's essentially what would happen if a security guard on his first day at Chuck E. Cheese was freaking the fuck out because the animatronics were coming to life and trying to kill him. It has a really good setup. I think there's like 4 or 5 different games. And the only problem here is, yes, I think Blumhouse could do it. However, if they do it, it would either have to be PG or PG-13. And I don't know if they would be able to make this budget work because they don't really do CG. So they'd have to pay for fairly expensive animatronics. And that's a big budget just on the set, which is something that they don't really do. And then furthermore, on top of that, like I said, can they market a PG horror film? Because it would have to be PG or PG-13 because almost everyone that plays these games love this property are under like 13 or 12 years old. The target demographic's like 7 to 10.
You know, props to them for trying to think out of the box and try something different, you know?
No, this is 100% in the box. This is a huge property. Like, in terms of what younger kids...
As far as how to get something done, though, or just go against what their image is, you know, so...
Well, their image is we make horror films, and
unless they're kind of shifting, because, you know, there's also that Halloween remake that they're involved with, even though there's enough there that's interesting that it could be different, but...
This is in the same realm, though. I mean, the big thing to note here is there's a ton of ancillary properties already in play. Like, the game costs nothing. It's like $5 or something, okay? But you can get t-shirts and hats and stuffed animals and pens and fucking flashlights. Like, you would be amazed. Step into a GameStop or into a fucking, like, Target. This is a huge cash cow. And if you make a movie, you can just repackage all of those same things, maybe put out a new version of the game, put out books, put out all kinds of shit. I haven't played it, but I've watched gameplay. I think it looks fucking boring. It's not whatever. But if this is true, this would help them break out from being like a small production company, like you said, alongside Halloween, to being fucking big time. Like, a lot of kids are going to go this opening weekend, if they're making it, or Warner Brothers is still making it, whoever's making it, to see this thing. Just because, like, outside of Minecraft, this is the one. Like, this is huge for some reason. Like, bigger in some ways than Pokemon. Because Pokemon's been around for 20 fucking years, okay? Like, it's expensive. You can only play it on one platform. It's always kind of been the same. Like, there was a new Pokemon that came out a couple months ago. No one's talking about it. It's over. That's dead. It was dead in the water. Been dead. Five Nights at Freddy's, though, oh, man, people never shut up about it. I don't know why. Especially the kids. The kids love it. It's crazy. So I hope this is real. More so than the last 4 rumors. Just because, you know, Warner Brothers, even if it's under the New Line banner, I don't know if they could do this. They would probably make it R-rated, which is the wrong thing to do. Like, that's not how you handle this property. It's also rumored, though, that Screen Gems...
They got to know their demographics, too, for this one, right?
It's like...
You can't be stupid.
I don't know. How do you know, you know? Like, Warner Brothers...
Whenever you're adapting something now, there's at least some awareness of who it is that your audience is.
If you got the rights to something like this years ago before it blew up, and you've put it into turnaround, you obviously didn't do the research because you could have made it before it dropped in popularity. Like, I would guess that Five Nights at Freddy's maybe got like another year or 2 before it fizzles, and so they have to put this thing out quick. Like, it has to hit theaters before 2020, or no one's going to care. So if someone can do that, it is Blumhouse. They can make a movie in less than 6 months. Fucking hire someone to write the script in like 5 days. They can do it. Just the question I have is, like I said, You only need one setting for this. It's all set in the same place, but the animatronics would be expensive. Like I don't know how much money they'd be willing to throw at this. You could totally do it as found footage though, which works in their favor. That would cut down a lot of production costs. But right now, it's a rumor. We'll chalk it up to that until they announce something. But I hope they land it, just because I don't care about the property, but I might watch it if they make it. Not in theaters, mind you, but I am interested. It's curious. Last little piece of CinemaCon news, and this is probably, well, it's not true, but the last big news from CinemaCon, because it actually was shown off there. Hugh Jackman's The Greatest Showman apparently dazzled audiences at CinemaCon. If you haven't heard of this, it's this musical that he's starring in, and it's just proof that Hollywood took notice of La La Land and is trying to put another big one out there soon. The big takeaway I got here is that he basically did Logan so he can make this. Because I think this has been in production for like 8 years or something crazy. Like, he's been working his ass off to make this movie, and it's at Fox. So hopefully it lands this year. I would love another musical to be in the Oscar contender category this award season. But just from the little that I read, I didn't read any of like the scene descriptions or anything. But just the fact that Hugh Jackman, who has a Broadway background, is going to be in a big film musical. I'm really excited, especially if this is a musical, and it might be because it has the same songwriters as La La Land, so it has good prestige.
And hey, the man can sing too.
He can sing really well.
Yeah.
So I hope this is coming this year. If it showed at CinemaCon, that kind of would almost guarantee that it will be, but we don't know. And just now we're gonna jump into some casting news, and then it's gonna be VR very shortly. This one is kind of exciting because we've actually done a Debt to Cinema episode related to it. But Liam Neeson is going to play Philip Marlowe for a 1950s set non-Chandler adaptation of the character. I forget the name of the script, but yeah, this is the character was used by like a posthumous writer. But we did The Long Goodbye, which is one of the cooler. Was that 70s? It was 70s.
It was the 70s, yeah.
1970s,
Robert
like
Altman flick.
Neo-noir films. Like, it predates neo-noir. Like, it's a couple of years before that became a thing, and yet it's so hip. Like, Elliot Gould is so fucking hip as the character, and a good theme
Just
song.
really funny and a lot of fun to watch.
But look that up. It's
that cat too, man.
Vismo Zsigmond is the DP, which is, man, like you get these cool shots of these Hollywood hills, like bachelor pads, and the cat, and if I remember
really
correctly,
cool apartment and all that. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger makes a brief cameo.
Yeah, like for 10 seconds,
whatever
maybe.
reason. Yeah,
because he's trying to become an actor. So yeah, you listen to that. I think it's like episode 40, maybe a little
30s,
bit earlier than that. It's like
38,
late 30s.
If I had to guess.
It's like late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when the story takes place too. So yeah, if this is real, Liam Neeson, I could see it be interesting, kind of subverting his "I will find you and I will kill you" into "I will find you and who you killed," which could be a fun, different turn. I'm just curious to see him being a fucking detective, to be honest. I think that's what he's born to be. But who knows? Who
wonder
knows
if he's
what
gonna do
accent
anything new though, or if he's just gonna play off his image, you know?
I don't know.
Because I love when Liam Neeson does his thing, but I would also love it if, you know, he went against type there. Just especially for that movie, like you know that that was not the Humphrey Bogart version. What Harry Gold did.
Like, I'm looking at my my bad cop, good cop Lego Dimensions figure right now. This thing is adorable. Like, you can turn the head around and it goes from both cops, and also it has his car, and the gun actually, you can press the top and it shoots a little projectile. Like, it's bad cop. And so to think about, like, going against type, like, I'm holding this figure, or better yet, like, his cameo in Ted 2. Like, he does do it on occasion, but I'm right there with you. Like, I would like him not being the Taken character one more time, or the, what's the one on the plane called?
Nonstop,
or
that
The
movie's
Gray.
awesome,
like, he's Liam Neeson now. Like,
I would say The Gray is against type. Like that, you know, really, like, just come on. The way that movie opens, it's like, no, he's not the badass. That is,
he's a badass
very
in that
sadly,
movie.
oh yeah, he is, but not like, you know, the ultimate badass that's indestructible. No, he is a broken man in that movie.
Imagine if he's cast in Fast and Furious 9, which I could see happening now. Because they have to just add more and more
I
action
mean, yeah,
stars at this
he's not
point.
making any more Taken movies, I think. So
Unless they reboot it, like, which is
no, no,
not
there was a TV
impossible.
series, remember?
Yeah, maybe they adapt the
Yeah.
TV series into a movie, which is not something that they
And
haven't
then
done
it's a
before.
spin-off, and then apparently he ends
Yeah,
up in the same world meeting Liam Neeson and whoever the hell's cast.
who
And that,
knows? But I
yeah,
want.
no, just leave it alone.
I'm curious about this. I like my murder mysteries. Like they showed footage of uh, Murder on the Orient Express at Cinemacon also, and it apparently dazzled. And so
Hmm.
we'll get a trailer for that. I'm not gonna watch it. I don't need to fucking see that trailer. I'm going opening weekend. I'm seeing a whodunit on the big screen because I haven't done that in a very long time. Even if it's one that I've actually seen before, and so I totally know what happens then. But I'll give Hollywood that money so they keep on making them. Even
Hey,
though,
Kenneth Branagh can make good movies, man.
yeah, he can.
He's a pretty skilled filmmaker.
I think this is gonna be one of them.
Might be a good time to do his Hamlet,
I don't know.
his
About
4-hour version of Hamlet.
I could have picked up. I think Macbeth is something I saw at Goodwill the other day. I went, no, I'll pass on that.
Yeah.
I want to see As Much Ado About Nothing, with the one with Denzel Washington. I want to see that.
I want to see his Frankenstein. I still got to see
Yeah,
that.
that one's probably good. That's the one with Robert De Niro, right?
Yeah, have you seen
Yeah.
it?
No.
Oh,
The only Frankenstein I've seen is. I haven't seen any Frankenstein besides Young Frankenstein, I don't think.
well, I'm making a list of it.
It's like Young
Could
Frankenstein.
come up one day.
No, that's it. Outside of like the Monster Squad and the more jokey things.
Yep. Well, one day it could come up.
One day you should do the original fucking Frankenstein instead. How about that?
I've already seen it though. So.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean,
Yeah, and like a lot of the Universal Monster stuff I've seen. Like I'm not gonna do the original. I'll probably do the Stephen Sommers Mummy. Honestly, I'm more likely to do that by the time that the Mummy comes out.
that one's good. That's right. I tried to watch The Mummy not too long ago, and I couldn't get into it. It was way too slow.
I've seen the Mummy Returns and the Rob Cohen one, which is shit, but I've never seen the first
The
one.
original one's good. It's solid.
Is it the original or?
The original reboot. Okay,
Yeah.
how about that? But talking about the what is it? The Universal Monsters universe. They actually got some news about that this week. They found a writer for Creature from the Black Lagoon, and it's going to be the guy that wrote the Aquaman script. So that's kind of the same territory. If it's believed that Aquaman's going to be kind of like the horror of the deep ocean. But I mean, I haven't read the script. Most people out of Hollywood haven't. But it must be good enough that he's already found a new job, and it also involves a sea creature, which is cool. Hopefully, I do watch the rest of the Monsters movies, the original ones, before this franchise goes into full swing. Be cool if I did like a marathon before the Mummy comes out this summer. As they showed off
Absolutely.
a new trailer for that, I'm not going to watch it because I'm I talked
No,
about
that
this.
first trailer really was working, and then it wasn't.
I'm sold on the concept of Tom Cruise stopping Sofia Boutella's Mummy, and it's set within a larger movie universe.
Hmm.
I'm sold on that. I do not need a trailer. Zero gravity sequence, cool. Don't want to see that. I want to see that on the screen. It's the Spider-Man Homecoming effect. I already saw one trailer. I've already seen that character in action. I do not need to know if it's worth my money. I'm gonna pay that money. I'm not going to allow them, as they're wont to do, to ruin set pieces and action setups and jokes and everything else that they do in trailers to let the dumber potential audience members decide if they've
Yeah.
seen the whole thing or not yet. I'm over that. One trailer is enough for me. A sneak peek is enough for me, to be honest. If I can get the idea of the tone of the film and if I'm buying it, then I'll buy it. I'll buy that ticket. So I'm not going to let them shit on my parade. No, thank
Oh,
you.
good for you, man.
Little last piece of news, and this is STX also. It's going to close out the teasers. After 3 films together, Mark Wahlberg and Peter Berg are looking to work together on a trilogy now. It's going to be called Mile 22, and it's basically 18 blocks but set in Indonesia, trying to get someone to an airport. If you haven't seen any of their collaborations, I've seen half of them, and they're pretty good. They did not American Survivor. Fucking
Lone Survivor?
Yeah, Lone Survivor.
Patriots Day.
And then
Deepwater Horizon.
Deepwater, yeah. I don't know if I want to see Deepwater.
I want to see it at some point.
I feel like I should have saw it in theaters, and since I didn't, it's not worth watching now.
By the way, what the hell is 18 Blocks?
18 Blocks is this Bruce Willis movie starring him and Mos Def.
No, that's 16 Blocks.
Is it 16?
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
Whatever. I remember the movie. I remember he was
that's
in
like
it.
the last Richard Donner flick I think I saw. Actually, I'm not even sure if I saw it. I think it's just the last one I know
You
he
sure it's
directed.
16 blocks?
Yeah, it's 16 blocks. It's definitely 16.
I'm Googling this now. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
no, no, no. I've seen that trailer so many times. That's what it is. I've seen that trailer a shitload of times in theaters, but I never saw the movie.
Yeah, it's 16 blocks.
Yeah,
I mean, I actually saw the movie, though. So.
is it
No,
good?
yeah, it's not bad. It's like it's nonstop action. That's the idea. It's the
That's
cops.
the last movie that Richard Donner directed.
It's like the
He's
cops.
still alive. He hasn't done anything though.
Cops kind of hate Bruce Willis. The cops really hate Mos Def because he's a rat. What if all the cops in the city were trying to kill Mos Def? Then Bruce Willis is going to save him until he gets him to like the court trial or whatever the fuck it was. And so this is the same idea. Like they're trying to market this as an action film geared towards adults. And like I said, hopefully they want to make a trilogy, which I think is silly. But hey, they work really well together, both as producers and as writer. I mean,
And
as
they've already
director
done
and
like
actor.
3 true life stories already. So
Yeah. So this would be
yeah.
another one, and hey, I'm pulling for him. The last STX information, like I said, they got the Ugly Dolls movie, Rodriguez, like I said. They got this Mark Wahlberg movie, and the final one is also Eddie Murphy is returning to animation. He's going to be voicing a film based on Bo the Bull, which I've never heard of before, and that alongside Ugly Dolls are going to be the first 2 STX animation films, which they're trying to really get into. So I hope you enjoyed the show so far. If you have, here's an ad break just so I can grab my voice back. And also, Steve can sell you on Hot Pockets.
on Hot Pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Why Hot Pockets now?
I don't know. Just go for it.
Like, do you eat them? Because I have not had those since high school. You know, they
No, yeah, I
they
haven't had
used
one
to be
since high
good.
school either.
I recall doing a similar thing to what Michael Cera was doing in Juno, is that he would run track and eat Hot Pockets, and I never intentionally did that as a trend, but hey, they were big at the time, so I did that. I don't eat that shit anymore.
It's like breakfast, lunch, dinner. They got you covered. You want
Yeah.
sandwiches.
But hey,
you
man,
want
if you're a
actual Hot
teenager-
Pockets, which are basically a meat pie, but the only thing that Americans know it's a pastry.
Hey, if
with
you're a
meat and
teenager
cheese.
and you want your mom to buy some cool shit at the grocery store or something, and just beg her to buy some shit, that's one of them.
Do you,
know.
do you want
Could be a
pizza
good snack.
that you can
Yeah.
eat in a flavor crisper in your microwave? You can get 2 for $5. It's a
Get a
good deal.
pizza, could get a sandwich, could get
Their sandwich ones actually aren't bad. Their breakfast ones aren't so hot though. It's like you can get whatever.
I don't know, the ham and cheese one is not that bad.
It's not. I'd rather go to Jack in the Box for half the price and get a breakfast Jack.
I like the Philly cheesesteak one the best.
See, I'm
That was mine.
I'm partial to just like the 4 cheese pizza. You get one of those, maybe 2 at the same time in the microwave. You heat that up while you're like watching TV. It's good. Like it. I'm gonna go out there and say it's the best microwave pizza you can get. Like it's better than that Tony shit. Better than Tina's Burritos pizza flavor. Like
I'm a fan of DiGiorno sometimes.
see, that's not microwave though. You got to put that in your oven.
No, they got microwavable ones.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
They're like small little pan ones.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, Hot Pockets. They're good, and it better than good could be your product, and we could sell it a lot better because, we'd have incentive.
We could have planned this out, how to talk about that. I mean, this is
No.
improv what I'm doing here because I don't know how to do. Yeah, I was like, how do I connect me and Hot Pockets? What is my experience with Hot Pockets? What the hell do people have Hot Pockets for?
Which I my experience. You don't need an
I
experience.
had that shit in high school.
You-
It's like it's been
you-
so long since I've had Hot
You
Pockets.
just lie to our potential audience about the great things that Hot Pockets can
Kids
do for
would
you.
love it right now because hey, I was a kid and I loved it. I'll be honest, I think it's kind of shit now, but
How would you know when's the last time you had a Hot Pocket? Maybe they changed the recipe. Maybe they're really
Maybe.
good. Maybe they'll
Maybe.
become our first sponsor. Who knows? Who
prove
knows?
me wrong.
Maybe they'll make
I
the
dare
$1
you,
Hot Pockets.
I dare you.
So here's the VR segment of the show. It's my favorite section. It's the news that I actually crave on a weekly basis. And it starts off with the VR Spotlight, which is usually something I read about. But this week I actually experienced something. I'll be giving my full review on the next episode, Dollar Reviews. But here's just like a quick tidbit. So I finally played, and I hesitate to say play. I would rather say experienced Werewolves Within this week. It's a PSVR title that's also available on all of the other VR platforms. You can play it on HTC Vive, you can play it on Oculus, and all 3 platforms play together, which is cool. So I played it 3 days ago, and the concept, it's made by Ubisoft. It's an adaptation of a card game or like a board game called Ultimate Werewolf, and it's really really hard to describe. I've played like 7 or 8 games now, and I still don't quite understand it. But that's not what matters. What does matter is the experience itself, and it's the best one I've had in virtual reality so far, at least in terms of the power of the platform. Because this is how it works. You put that set on, you grab your controller, you press quick game, and you're thrown into a circle. There's you and up to 5 to 7 others. So it's played between a group of 6 to 8. And you're sitting there and you have your avatar, and you can see where everyone's looking. When you're talking, there's lip flap. If you stand up, your avatar stands up. If you talk loud, everyone will hear you. If you whisper, only one person will hear you. If you turn to your side and the other person turns to their side, you can whisper both in-game in the lobby. And just the sense of reality that I got from it in a virtual realm was unparalleled. I've never experienced something like this. Like, up until I played this, I had done Sports Bar VR, and I remember talking about that in 2 cents, just my experience dancing with a stranger in virtual reality, which still is really special, except that was a muted experience. I was talking, but no one else had a mic on, which I thought was funny, because every PlayStation virtual reality headset has a mic integrated into it. Whereas within, based on the game itself, where you have to talk. Like I said, it's hard to explain. You each get, like, a roll on random. One person's a werewolf. There's Saints, Deviants, Villagers, fucking this, and you're all trying. You have like your own game at play, and it's a game about basically lying. You're trying to either, if you're the Villagers, you're trying to figure out who the werewolves are and cast them out of the group. If you're the werewolves, you're trying to make everyone think that you're not the werewolf. Like it's a game. It's basically just lying incarnate. But given that the gameplay itself is based entirely on conversation, you get a really good understanding of who these people are around you, even though you don't know what they actually look like, you don't know where they are, you don't know anything about them outside of what they're saying and what their voice sounds like. And yet, even through this virtual realm, you know their mannerisms. Like, if they're an asshole or not, if they're going to shout over other people, if they have a tendency to just make fun of everyone. Like, you know all of this about someone in a 5 to 10 minute game span, which is crazy. So I've played it twice. The first night I played it, which, like I said, was like 3 or 4 days ago, it was special. I got into my first game. I stayed there in the same lobby for like an hour. And I felt like I really knew these people as time passed. Like, I didn't know their real names. I know whatever, their username is. And yet, we were all laughing together, having a good time. Like, it finally got to the point where we were kind of, like, talking about where we were. We were talking about virtual reality games. I got into, like, a heated argument.
Hanging out, right?
Yeah, just hanging out. Like, I got into, like, a heated argument. Like, not heated, with someone, because he was like, when the fuck is VR going to get a sport? I'm like, well, you can get ping pong already, and it's going to be multiplayer. He's like, no, that's an activity. I want a sport. I'm like, excuse me, how's it not a sport? It's ping pong. Like, Forrest Gump would argue that fact. He's like, it's an activity. I want, to play something with my controller. I'm like, so if it's with your controller, how's it a sport? At least in the ping pong game, you have to move the paddles. He's like, if you want to fucking stand up and do that, like, we're going back and forth, and we kind of gave up on it, and I'm talking to other people. And we're talking about the Batman game that you played, and everyone's like, oh, it fucking sucks. I'm like, you guys are crazy, okay? It does not suck, okay? And it just...
It's a starting point. It's not like the best thing in the world.
No, but even still, and so I'm in an environment where everyone has experienced a lot of things that I have, so there's a natural just familiarity with them. They're all wearing their expensive hats when I am, and it's a very inclusive group. And then at the same time, like that first night where, I sent friend requests to most people, like we had a great time. There was this guy, Sweet Tea from Virginia, who had like a very thick drawl that everyone was kind of just like laughing at because you don't hear it. Like people were calling him Dave Chappelle because he was probably black, his avatar was black, and then he kind of sounded like Clayton Bigsby, okay? But so that was my first night. It was special. Like I stopped kind of liking the game, like the game itself, not the actual experiences I was having. And I wanted to leave. I got suckered into a final game. I finally left. I played again last night. I did one before I watched The Fly, which you can listen to, The Fly original, not remake, mind you, the 58 movie.
You can also listen to the remake.
Yeah, the remake conversation is a lot better.
Yep.
And so last night I did one game, and I got into a group, and kind of like the first night, I could tell where everyone was. Like, I was smoking, I was kind of high. A couple other people were too. People were drinking. Makes sense. It was a Friday night. Last night, though, it was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, there was this one girl, like, I was sober, but there was this one girl who was clearly drunk. Everyone left to do a smoke break, and they came back, like, a couple minutes later, and she was just, like, not the kind of person I wanted to play any game with, especially this game. Like, she was playing music off her phone, it sounded like, and so that was obnoxious. She was like hitting on people, but not in a hot way, like asking people to move in with her. Like, it just, I wasn't interested. I played one game and I bounced the fuck out of there. Like, I wasn't. I was being criticized for the way I played the game, and I was like, guys, like, this is like my fifth game. Like, I still, like, in the same way that I can't even articulate the game to our audience or to you, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So with that one being hopefully just the one situation that I didn't like, but I don't think that's going to be true, because it's like reality, you know. If you sit down somewhere, chances are you're not going to like everyone you're surrounded by. That's just the way the world works.
Yeah, you don't have to, you know.
And yet, for the first time in virtual reality, I felt like, both last night and the night before, I felt like I was actually with people. Like, so much so that, not last night, but once again the night before, after I spent like an hour or so with these people that I've never met before, when I took my headset off, I had a serious freak out moment where I went, where the hell am I? What the fuck is going on? Like, seriously, like, I was saying that over and over again to myself for like 30 seconds until I was in terms of my own reality. Like, I got so sucked into this virtual realm because it is pretty. Like, I'll go into further depth when we do the dollar reviews. But I just, yeah, I kind of lost myself in the game.
You get way more immersed into it than I do, to be like. I
No,
think
this is
you
different.
Get, I
No,
think you get. I still have more that I gotta try, and I've actually tried
no,
some stuff on some pretty good Google Cardboard headsets that
no,
people have shown off to me since then. But
I've,
I think you get way more
no,
connected than I
no,
do.
no, no. I've done a lot of stuff, man, a lot, and this is the
Yeah.
only time, literally the only time, I didn't feel like I was sitting in my room with the headset on. I forgot I was that. I felt like I was in an environment with these six other people. It didn't matter that it was digital. Like, it felt real. These felt like friends. It felt like a group of people I was hanging out with.
Hmm.
It was scary. Like, when I literally took it off, I had trouble disconnecting my reality from the reality I was just in. That one seemed almost more real than where I was, probably because my brain was happier being there because I was not alone. It was scary. It was truly frightening, and then also just earth-shattering, because for the first time in virtual reality, I felt that the future's already here. That it is already possible, with the limitations graphically, that you can create something that feels just as real as the world that we live in. And so for that reason, I definitely recommend anyone pick it up. I'd buy that for $1. I got it for $15 on clearance. You can probably get it for something similar. It's been on sale, especially on PlayStation, for about $20, even though it retails for $30. It's worth your money. You do need PlayStation Plus to play it online. It's only a social game. You can't play it alone. But yeah, I've never played anything like it before, any game, because people aren't social anymore in video games. And this is an entirely social experience. You can't
Based
play it
around
without
that.
you can't play it without talking. Talking is the way you play it. And it's special. I don't think I'm going to play it every day, but I can easily see why, with this game in mind. Like, it just, all the things that we talk about on this show for the past, 90 weeks, they were actualized there. Like, it was proof that a MMO, a massively multiplayer game, without actual gameplay, just hanging out and doing things, going to the mall and stuff, in virtual reality, is already feasible. That, yes, you're going to encounter assholes, but you're also going to encounter people that you instantly want to be friends with. Like, it was a very interesting and special experience that I don't think I'll ever forget. Much in the same way, like I said, dancing in VR for the first time with a stranger. Just that immediate social interaction in a realm so different from what you've ever experienced before, that it's like taking your first steps. Like it was scary good. Moving to news though, this is scary funny or scary sad, depending on what side of the fuck Oculus tent pole you're on. But as of this past Friday, Palmer Luckey does not work for Oculus/Facebook anymore.
Why is that scary sad or scary funny?
Because he's the godfather of Oculus/virtual
I just
reality.
mean the scary part. How does that fit in?
Because if the creator of your company that you paid $3 billion for can get in hot shit over his political background and you fire him from your very public company,
fuck, that's right.
then yeah, that's scary sad. So yeah, no reasons disclosed, but given, the bullshit PC nature that we currently live in, chances are he was forced out because he in part paid pro-Trump advocacy group during the election cycle. That was it. They made him disappear from the public eye after that was disclosed. The only time he surfaced was at the ZeniMax trial, for which he lost and John Carmack lost. So I don't know if there was a severance package. I don't know if he left on his own accord. But I would assume that he was kicked the fuck out, which makes sense because he's only 23 years old. He shouldn't have been working at Facebook in the first place. I don't know why he took that at all. If he was smart, he should have just kept Oculus the way it was as a separate entity. It wouldn't be the villain of virtual reality like it is currently. And now it was all for nothing. He took this company that he built on his own. He got a shit ton of money for it. But now he's out. He's ostracized. He's an outcast. He means nothing. And he'll probably never do anything special with his life ever again. He's going to be someone that it's going to be like in 20 years when virtual reality is, everywhere and always everywhere. People are going to be like, what happened to that guy? And there's going to be like a biopic made about him, and he's going to fucking kill himself. Like, I would love to hunt him down.
Kind of extreme, man.
No, not really. Like, he is younger than us, and he has more money than either of us will ever make combined. What's he going to do with his life now?
He's got a long life to live, man. Who the fuck knows?
I don't know. I want to hunt him down, though. I could easily find his house. I've talked about this many times. I'm sure I know someone that knew him in college. I'm sure they might maybe not be in contact with anymore, but are familiar with where he is or where he hangs out or something along those lines. It would be a dream of mine to get him on the show, especially in light of what happened this week and even before that. But even better than that, just to fucking pick his brain in a realm post Facebook when he has to hide everything he does. I would love it if he creates a new virtual reality company, if he makes a better headset than what Oculus currently offers, or even better yet, if he joins up with HTC or Steam, or even better than that, PlayStation. If he takes what he knows and the people he knows and the connections he's made in the infancy of VR to now, and he used that to further enhance just the technology, but chances are he's just going to be a bachelor, keep wearing his Hawaiian shirts, and globetrot wearing his flip-flops. But who knows? No one knows. He definitely doesn't know either. I might make a joke. I hope he doesn't kill himself, but like I said, I think it's
kind of extreme, man.
I think it is possible, to be honest, because he got fired. He got told to fucking leave. There's no why, because think about the other way. You work at Facebook, you're the head of a company, and within the company, huge company in terms of virtual reality, would you quit? Fuck no, you wouldn't quit. So yeah, he was fired. He was told to quit.
Hey man, it's not like, he's still young enough, man. It's not, the possibilities are still out there. He's got enough money to start something else, he's probably can invest in something, I'm sure.
I don't know.
I mean, the dude's gonna be fine.
I hope so.
Like, he's got what he needs to be fine. It's just, okay, yeah, if this is a dent, it sucks, but you can get over it at some point. Don't let this be your fucking defining legacy,
I mean, now, let me backtrack. I actually think he could have left, because given the fact that maybe it wasn't exactly Mark Zuckerberg, but someone that he had a report to, who was telling him, hey, stay out of the public light, don't talk to anyone,
again,
stay off of
there might
Twitter.
be some pressure there, and you might just realize these are not the people you want to be working with, and you're just wasting your time. Who the fuck knows? A whole lot of shit could be going on.
I hope we find out. I hope he writes a memoir. I hope he does a tell-all. Maybe he has some information on the inner workings of Facebook that could totally change the way that side of the internet works, because 1 in 8 people on the planet use Facebook.
Hey, read a biopic about him, man.
And yet, it's a piece of shit.
Oculus.
It's a piece of shit fucking website that I hate. I
still use it, though?
I don't use it. I use it to leverage what we do and to keep in touch or to keep tabs on people that I care about. But given
Yeah.
that most of the stuff I see on there are about people I don't care about, I just scroll it just for
Just
jokes to
block them,
see.
or
No, I
just
no, not. It's not like that. It's just like, what are you posting now? What kind of videos are you sharing? Oh, you did this. Like, I care, but I don't care. It's like it's the same effect as like roadkill. When you drive over it, you want to know what animal it is, but you don't care enough to feel sad. It's like a worthless piece of your day that isn't worth talking about. And like that's kind of what Facebook is now. And like I think back to when I used to actually make Facebook posts like on a fairly frequent basis, and like the way I use it now, and it's purely for like peeping tom reasons. Like I just want to know what's going on in other people's lives, like because Facebook is such just a truly weird entity of yourself where you try to blast your persona. Like, how do people know me? Let me amplify that. Let me try to convey my emotions in a way that is safe from an audience, and also that I can feel special when they give me thumbs ups. Like, it's. I don't wish it dies, but in the way that it is, its ubiquity. I hope
it's more
it
just the way
disappears.
that people react on it or how people act that I just
No, just
I don't have an issue with the site. It's more just how people are.
I do have an issue with the site though. The longer it lasts, the bigger it's gonna get, the more it's gonna be a part of our daily lives. So it's like I bet they're working on their own content. It's become vertically integrated, or it's
Hmm.
becoming that way. That it's gonna be a Netflix competitor in the next couple of years, where they're gonna clearly have their own original content, but they're probably also gonna brokerage deals with studios to have content on there first. I wouldn't be surprised if actually Facebook is one of the places that the VOD window is kind of crippled, where if you liked the movie on Facebook and you got a ticket and you checked in on your theater through Facebook status, that you can buy your digital copy 30 days earlier than anyone else does, or something like that. Like
Mm.
they have the net that it it's scary. I don't
Yeah.
I don't like thinking about Facebook. It's scary. Um, Cinemacon VR things happen there too, and this one's really cool. Warner Brothers made two big announcements. The first one being that HEC has secured exclusive VR rights to Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One, which is, mind you, coming out in less than a year now, mind you, not a month. It's coming March 30th, 2018, so it's 360 days now. Really
Yeah,
excited.
they're shooting right now, aren't they?
Oh, they've been shooting. They've been shooting for months.
Yeah.
Like they're probably almost already in post conversion, all right, post processing, right? Like
Post production.
post production, yeah. Like
Yeah.
they're already probably getting there. But yeah, HTC's going to making games and experiences that are coming to Viveport. Um, Leading up to the release, I hope that these come other places because HTC's already worked on coming to Oculus and PlayStation VR, and by that point, a year from now, VR is going to be much bigger than it is currently. That's going to be about 2 years post release on all the platforms, minus PlayStation Virtual Reality. So that's really cool, especially since this is the piece of fiction and contemporary literature that is the real kind of like catalyst for where virtual reality can go and where people want it to go. And so the
Hmm.
fact that the best VR headset on the market currently got the rights to it makes me happy. Even bigger than that, though, Warner Brothers teamed with IMAX for Justice League and Aquaman, and also a third mystery project which hasn't been announced. And so those are likely to be exclusive to their VR centers, which there's one of in LA already. There's going to be more coming soon. And, Justice League totally makes sense. Aquaman a little bit less because that's over a year from now. That seems like a really early time to land an IMAX exclusive. But I guess if anyone can do it, it's them because, Warner Brothers already has IMAX packs with them for releases for those two movies in particular. And I would assume whatever the third one is. I got no clue what that one is. I don't think anyone does. Probably going to be Man of Steel 2 or The Flash whenever that's coming, if that's still coming. Or
Mm.
maybe even something that's a mystery that we didn't even know is a thing. They're like, oh, yeah, we're making that. Well, we'll find out whenever that
It's
happens.
not concrete, at least at this point, right?
Yeah,
Their
it's an
release pattern. Yeah,
it's
it's not like the MCU or anything.
no, it's untitled. It's random. It might not even be a DC property. It could literally be anything Warner Brothers. Like it could easily be Godzilla 2. It could be anything. No one knows.
Yeah.
Way cooler though, and this is in terms of just media and on the whole, not just VR. But the Venice Film Festival is adding a VR section to its annual showing. It's titled the Venice Virtual Reality, and it's going to comprise a maximum of 18 entries, in which 3 will be awarded prizes for Best VR Film, Grand VR Jury Prize, and Best VR Creativity Award. No news on who's going to be part of the jury, but I would assume that's people that actually have worked in VR. Michael Stromberg is like the obvious bet. Maybe someone like Steven Spielberg too, or fucking James Cameron. Who knows? Like someone that's working within it though would make sense, because this is the first time a major film festival is handing out awards. South by Southwest, Sundance, Tribeca, they've all included VR content, except it's not part of the festival. True to itself. It's like, oh, the things to come section or whatever. Like
it's getting
it's
there,
separate.
and then there's also the Emmys giving out awards too, right?
Yeah,
so
well, that's like more.
it's a step.
It's like the Emmys. Actually, they've always had like original digital short or whatever, and it just so happened that in consecutive years that VR shorts were nominated /won. Like
that's enough for places to keep their eyes on it and take it seriously, and this is just another step closer to that.
Yeah, it's like in the same way that Pearl, when the Google Daydream videos, was nominated for Best Animated Short at the Oscars, but it wasn't necessarily nominated for being VR. It was just nominated as a video that you could watch in 2D. But yeah, I get what you're saying, but hopefully this can push it. I mean, Venice isn't the biggest film festival, but even still, that they are taking this leap makes me hope that, like eventually Cannes and Toronto and
Venice is respected enough.
Yeah, that the others though, the other respected film festivals can do the same thing, because last week when we were talking about that After Solitary documentary, which already won like a shitload of stuff at South by Southwest, I hope that also goes to Venice, and then it wins something, and then it it really gets traction, because the more awards something wins, especially in an infancy like media outlet such as these, it allows for more conversation, for more interest, for a wider release, and then also just for more people paying their money to buy one in the first place. So awards are important for these kind of reasons.
Yeah.
And I think Venice is really taking advantage of that right at the beginning. Talking about Michael Stromberg, though, the big thing at Cinemacon is that the virtual reality company has teamed with D-Box for the first episode of their Raising a Ruckus animated series. It's going to be a 12-minute initial episode that is going to be available exclusively in theater lobbies across North America and also in the UK. It's going to be like their first step in the original material or original IP market. They've been known primarily thus far for making like the Martian VR experience, and then also doing things like they did something also that I'm blanking on right now.
Assassin's Creed.
Did they do that? I don't even know. It's like there's so much.
I'm not sure.
There's so much stuff.
There's a lot.
There's so much stuff. But like I said, this is going to be done with D-Box, and so it's going to have motion seats with wind and air and sense and stuff like that. So it's going to be a much more, lived-in VR experience. And it has a timed window. I don't know how long. We also don't know when this is actually going to be landing in lobbies, or where for that matter. Bets are on LA, like Austin, New York, fucking like Chicago, like Atlanta, like all of the metropolitan areas. But like I said, it's also across North America, so probably Mexico City, maybe like Quebec or Toronto, like all of those big ones, the UK. I don't know. Like, I'm just spitballing here, but like London, Manchester, like all of the big cities and all the big metroplexes there too. I
love how you keep referring to Austin as a metropolitan area. It's like it
is.
really isn't, man.
It is.
Long Beach feels bigger, honestly, to me when I'm there.
Yeah, it's an international port city, but Austin, and especially in the film world and even VR, it's big.
Yeah,
Music, it's big.
It's like Orange County is bigger, man.
Orange County's not a city.
Yeah, but like it may as well be.
No, there's nothing in Orange County. There's nothing.
It may as
there's
well be
no
as far
culture. Orange County is a bunch of houses. So?
Yeah, but there's a lot of people.
Orange County's known for one thing, is Disneyland. And the Angels.
Yeah.
And Angels are Disneyland. Like there's
and they're owned by LA, so
like there's nothing in Orange County. It's a fucking waste. It's a waste of space. It
really is.
The only thing that's ever come out of Orange County is fucking ska music, really. It's boring.
How long ago was that?
The 80s.
Good lord.
And it wasn't even founded there. It was just a big boom. Anyway, the little last piece of VR news here is also kind of related to D-Box, but it's the other side of the spectrum. So TCL is meanwhile going to be doing MX4D seats. They're going to be adding those to their famous Chinese theater. Not the theater itself, mind you, but the adjoined six-theater Cineplex. One of those screens is going to allow for more immersive screenings for movies, but then also, more importantly, it's going to house their first esports spectating arena, which they hope to bring across the world. Esports are a big market, especially when it comes to spectating. You can already do whatchamacallit, the Fathom events in theaters nationwide for esports. So the idea here is, well, what if you're doing esports in a prestigious theater in the middle of one of the world's biggest entertainment cities, and on top of that, your seats can move, which is cool. And the reason I bring this up is usually when you're talking about motion seats, it's either D-Box or Cinema 4D. This is MX4D, which people have almost never heard of, but I've actually sat in. When I did that thing for Greg, when I beta tested the Dune Buggy multiplayer thing,
Which you can't really talk
that I
about,
can't really
right?
talk about, that was at Mediamation, the people that do MX4D. So I have used their tech. I saw some of their chairs. I did talk to them a little bit about it. They don't have the name brand recognition, but it does all the same things. You have the motion back and forth. You have the scents and the smells. It can tickle your legs. It does all the shit. Like, if you've done Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, it's that. It's 100% that. Except they make it on an international scale, and they tie it in for movies. And so the fact that TCL is going that route is really interesting. I'm curious if they're going to get like a push for more movies to be done in that format. But no one knows, and it is kind of exciting, as like in the way that TCL was able to transform the Grauman Chinese Theater into like the premier IMAX location. If they can take the six
For whatever reason, yeah.
for whatever reason, but if they can,
It's not really IMAX, but
if they can take their six screen theater that's like tied to the same lobby into like another like specialist for certain kinds of entertainment, it'd be really cool. I mean, especially since TCL isn't still known in America as a name brand, this is the kind of stuff that can push them there. Because it's like people, I don't think most people don't even call it the TCL Chinese Theater; just call it Grauman still.
yeah,
And then
or just Chinese theater. Like when you're in LA, it's people know what it is.
it's like I really don't think people buy TCL TVs outside of people that have Amazon Prime either. It's like
Yeah,
you're not going to Best Buy. Oh yeah,
those
that,
things break too, from what I'm told.
that TCL screen's so nice, guys. Like no,
It's just like it's cheap, and you just take a risk with it when you buy it.
I mean, people said the same thing about Vizio, and they're still one of the biggest TV manufacturers today. Which
But you can
is
at least pick those
scary.
up, right? Like, where can you get a TCL TV? Walmart, maybe?
I don't know. I
Or
wouldn't
is
be.
it just Amazon exclusive?
No,
at
it's not.
this
It's not
point?
exclusive. I mean, it's just you got to keep in mind that TCL is from China, and so getting into American big box retailers isn't the easiest thing to do. I would assume maybe Walmart, but Best Buy is not outside the realm of possibility
Well,
too.
if you keep your prices low, then that's good enough to get you at least known, because a lot of people are going to go for the cheapest option that's still good enough.
Well, cheapest option that's still good next. It's not Trojan. It's Durex. Durex is pretty good. They're a trusted name. Keeping HIV off the streets and babies out the bellies. I don't personally use them. I don't like using condoms, and from what you've told me before, Steve, you don't either. but if I had to trust one and you
all
gave
right,
them to me, I would use Durex, and you should too. They're a trusted name in condoms, just not Trojan.
By the way, yes, I do.
How'd you get the
That's the
UTI
weird part.
then?
Oh, wow, publish that online. I have no idea, man.
I
Condoms are not foolproof, man.
they're almost baby proof though.
They're supposed to be, yeah, but they're not foolproof.
Apparently
you know?
not. Maybe yours was expired.
Sometimes they got holes in them, and you don't even know it. you
Digging
know?
up holes. That was the funny thing too about Where I Was Within. There was one guy in that lobby that kept on trying to sing the poem that Stanley's mother sang to him. And we had like a little conversation about like Madame Zeroni. Like it went on for like
Really?
way longer than it should have. But it was like the strangest fucking conversation that was awesome. Like
Completely forgot that holes existed.
I have the book.
It's a good book, yeah.
I have the movie too.
No, that was yeah. Everyone in school read that book,
Yeah, it was good. Like
either because they wanted to or they had to.
I think it was both for me. I don't remember if
Yeah.
I was forced to read it or I picked it up and I liked it, but I liked it regardless and I bought it.
It was one of those new. We had to like pick a Newbery Award-winning book, and that was one of them that everyone did. So I was just like, yeah, why not? And I liked it. That was before the movie came out.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
book.
Yeah, it is a good book.
It's a good book. But that was our second ad break, as I said at the top of the show. If you did pay for our support on Patreon, you could have one of your ads like that. Obviously, it'd be longer. You'd pick the material.
It's the weirdest choice, man.
Hey, it worked. Hey, you didn't like the hot pockets thing. I tried a
Oh
different
no,
thing.
I just didn't know where to go off the spot. I see how you're trying to connect to something here, but hey, hey, condom. Always use a condom.
I try. Just
Yeah, same here. Same
when
here.
I'm drunk, I don't because
For the most, well, no, when I'm drunk, I actually have good judgment. I just say no.
nah, I'm stupid when I'm drunk.
Yeah, it's. I hope that by saying it out loud, that doesn't go away, because that tends to happen. You say a fact about yourself, and then suddenly it's not true anymore.
Mm.
You know?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of know.
that'd be the worst one.
Here's the headlines, though, and this first one is pretty fucking kick-ass. Probably the favorite thing I read this week, and it's just really interesting. A script began circling town this week called the Kosher Nostra. Did you hear about this?
No.
No? Okay, so script's going around town called the Kosher Nostra. It was written by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, except it wasn't. It's a cool story on paper. It's about a struggling writer who's working as an Uber driver, but he ends up getting entangled as a getaway driver for the Jewish mob. Hence, the Kosher
It's like Collateral.
Nostra. Maybe.
Kind of.
So yeah, problem is, it's not actually a Point Grey film. Despite the characters going knocked up route and all of the characters being named based on the actors they want. There's a Seth, there's an Aziz, there's, I forget what the other three are, it doesn't really matter, Jonah, Like, these guys did written by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, story by Jonah Hill. And the story behind this, which was, I read on a Hollywood Reporter, basically these two guys who are like our age wrote this script, great name, and no one read it. No one would read it. And so they went, well, fuck it. How about we just make a new cover page? We want...
Just lie about who wrote it?
Just lie about it. We already want people to think that, we're trying to write a movie kind of like their films. We ideally want them to make it. Let's just fucking lie about it. Let's see what happens. It went all around town. Everyone read it. Amy Pascal, it got to the desk of people that actually make these kind of movies. And it wasn't until this story came out that everything died down. I don't know if the film's going to get bought. On paper, it sounds like a funny movie. Just the concept, the title, like I said, amazing title. And if the film actually doesn't get made, a film about making this film would be an even better movie, especially if Point Grey did it. If they called the film "We Didn't Make This One" or something, kind of like in the same way.
Are they producing Disaster Artist?
I don't know, actually.
Because I know that
I would think they are.
Franco, I don't know if he's doing his own thing on that, but they got most of the same
people.
Familiar team.
Yeah.
They got Seth Rogen in there. I know Brandon Trost shot it, who shoots a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I would think that Point Grey is too busy with Preacher. They just dropped the season 2 trailer during the Walking Dead finale tonight, that they might not be doing movies right now. But that could be, that's just conjecture. But really, I hope that Rogen and Goldberg reach out to these guys, maybe send them a letter. Hopefully they read the script. If people were lying that I wrote a script and I had a lot of clout in Hollywood, I would definitely hunt down that script, read it. Maybe not hunt down the people, but I would at least want to have a conversation with them. I would assume this isn't something that happens in Hollywood commonly, and it's a funny story. I mean, maybe not someone impersonating you necessarily, or lying that you wrote something that they did. But people found out. It didn't go anywhere. It died.
Honestly,
pretty fast.
It sounds like it's up their alley based on the stuff that they make
and
how they act in public.
This sounds like something that maybe is even a publicity stunt. They actually did write it, but they told these guys to pretend they wrote it, and they pretend to wrote it, just to see, as a joke. That would be funny.
Because they do that.
Yeah, they do shit like that.
They try to find creative shit like that. Yeah.
I would love to see a behind the scenes movie on this, or a short, or something, or Seth Rogen doing a fucking YouTube interview with these guys, or putting them in his next movie or something. Just something.
Just giving them a break. They might have other scripts.
This script might actually be funny. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we can find it online because no one wants it. No one wanted it, and they probably don't want it now. But you'd be surprised maybe. It sounds funny. Something that does not sound funny, though. Remember that Lee Daniels Black remake of Terms of Endearment?
The one you're very against.
Yeah, so he came out and talked about it more this week. There's a lot more details. He wants to cast Oprah as Shirley MacLaine, obviously. I already claimed that was going to happen. But this is where it gets weird. He wants to make the film about HIV and AIDS instead of cancer, number one. And the way that's going to work is he's going to make Jeff Daniels' character gay, and he's going to, fuck some dude, and then come home and fuck his wife, and then she's going to get HIV and die.
Spoilers.
That's not a spoiler, okay? That he said
You're giving
this.
away how it happens already.
Good. Don't watch the movie.
Honestly, I probably wasn't going to.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the audience. Don't watch this. Watch the original one.
I know you loved it way more, but I'm hardly against this.
But
it's like I can't pick and choose with remakes now. They happen so often.
Here's
just
what
like,
he said, though.
yeah.
I don't have a problem with that different setup. Like, there's a whole bunch of cancer movies. It would seem a lot less Hallmark if it wasn't cancer. But then HIV and AIDS is just as much Hallmark as cancer is. But this is what he said. He was like, I want to show a different side of the 80s. I want to show...
Because, of course, everything has to be said in the 80s now.
Well, here's the stupid part. The Terms of Endearment is set in the 80s. It was shot in the 80s. It was released in the 80s. And it won Best Picture.
But it covers a lot of ground, though. There's several years that it covers.
It does, but it's primarily in the early 80s. And it won Best Picture in 1983. How can you show a different side of the 80s when it is the 80s?
Yeah, I could actually get behind that point in that movie is not exactly reflective of 80s culture in its entirety,
It was released in 83. The novel came out in the 70s.
And
It's not going to be.
This is the, quote, black version of it.
No,
So,
it
yeah,
is
it's gonna be
the
different.
black version. There's no quote on that. When you got a black...
Quote, because we call that a genre now.
Because it is a
know?
fucking genre. When you
Yeah,
make enough of them,
lame.
it's a genre.
It's lame, though, to, like... We've had this conversation.
I should... You know what I'm
like-
going to do? I'm going to make a fucking letterbox list, maybe not tonight, tomorrow, of all the black remakes out there. We got About Last Night. We got Death at a Funeral.
Guess Who?
Guess Who? No, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. Because that's that's just flipping the structure of the film. I don't know if...
But it is one that's more aimed at black audiences, right? Oh, like what happens if this white guy comes in with a black family and hijinks ensue?
I'm a lot friendlier on that one, though, because that clearly wasn't made by black cast and crew, and it still stars Ashton Kutcher.
Fair enough.
But I can understand why you would say that one.
I've not seen it. I'm just assuming that it's one thing.
The several Chris Rock ones, Down to Earth and Head of State, which is a remake of Distinguished Gentleman, which is also a black movie, so maybe that one's not actually a black remake. I got to make the list. There's only so many.
The family experience is different wherever, so yeah, different side of it in the 80s. I could buy that explanation of it. That's actually the one thing where I'm like, all right, yeah, you might be justified in doing it, but
if you're changing...
It's one thing where it's like, why don't you just make a
new movie
that is set in the 80s, yeah, and it's like, it doesn't have to follow the same formula.
Even better than that, this is, I don't know if it won a Pulitzer, but this is an acclaimed best-selling novel that made an acclaimed award-winning movie inspired by it, or based on it. And for you to read...
Then again, what else is in that novel that's not based off the
I
movie?
don't know, but HIV and AIDS definitely isn't. So when you totally change the whole plot device of that film to make it suit more your sensibilities as a filmmaker, why even claim it as a remake in the first place? Just make your own original thing. You're a known name.
This argument is endless, man, because there's remakes that are good examples of that where they change it radically enough and it ends up being good. It ends up complementing what sourced it from before, and I mean, although it's better in the case of something that's like fictitious in some sort of genre that's not a drama like this.
Put it this way.
I can see that, like something like The Fly. Cronenberg could definitely put his own spin on that and make something out of it that's new and feels like it's him, and yet still is complementing what came before it in some way.
It's actually funny.
So I can see how this is weird because it's a drama and it's supposed to be something that's personal. And how do you make something new with that?
It's actually funny because a lot of people at the time of its release claimed that The Fly was like basically an allegory for the HIV/AIDS epidemic. And Cronenberg's like, oh, I didn't.
How many things in the 80s were like
I
that?
guess, and he was like, I didn't
There's
even.
more than
I
one.
never thought about that.
Yeah.
Which is fair because I don't see that at all. Because who the fuck gets AIDS by jumping in a teleporter with a?
Well, hey, I wasn't alive then, so.
I guess, but even still, it's like
And
I
hey, yeah, I don't know. There was a fly in there.
I
I don't know.
wouldn't be against this movie just in what I know about it right now. If he said, I really love Terms of Endearment, but I want to update it to make it something different, and it's just going to be inspired by that, then I wouldn't have a problem with
That's
that.
another way of saying it is a different side of the 80s, and he wants to show
No,
that.
they're going to call this thing Terms of Endearment. It's going to be produced by Harpo Pictures. This is gonna 100% be a remake. Literally, okay?
Fair enough.
That's what I have an issue with, because you don't need remakes for good movies. The idea of a remake is, we have better technology now, we can make the story more important by today's standards, we can articulate its message in a clearer way. When you set the story in the same time frame when the movie was actually released, and the movie's actually really good in the first place, and HIV and AIDS doesn't really exist anymore, especially not in America, what story are you really telling? Why does it really matter?
How many times have we had movies that have been set in the past that are about informing our reality today lately? You know, I'm not sure if that's what he's trying to do.
Once
I don't
again,
know.
though, I mean,
we won't have
as-
any idea what he's trying to do until it comes
as a
out.
queer filmmaker, I get it. You know, there aren't a lot of films made today about the HIV/AIDS epidemic. However, the reason for that is just like fucking not sickle cell, but just like polio. It's still out there, but not really.
You know, I will be a bit more the optimist here. I really don't have any interest in seeing it, but, you know, just because, you know, hey, it hasn't been made yet. It's about to be made, and I would like to assume that at least he's trying to do something right with it. And if not, then it'll get criticized by us, I'm sure, as well as many other people.
I'm not
but
gonna watch it.
well, we'll see, man. What if it turns out to be good and it turns out to be something special and we had no idea it could be what it ends up being? Then
No, I didn't see.
hey, that's nothing but a good thing.
I don't watch his stuff. I just don't.
I haven't seen Precious or The Butler either.
No,
You know, it's,
I haven't seen
I don't think I've seen
Empire.
a single movie of his.
I
It's
haven't
like-
seen his other TV show.
It just hasn't been in my demographic. But you know, hey, I'm
no,
not going to root against
It
him
has
for any
nothing
reason.
against demographic for me. I'm curious in seeing Sapphire. Like I've seen minute.
You mean Precious?
Precious. It's written
Yeah.
by Sapphire. I
Push based on the novel by Seth.
yeah. Like I've seen moments of that film. I've seen moments of The Butler. I've seen minutes of Empire. Like I've seen stuff. I've seen scenes and sequences from everything that he's made, or at least most things that he's made. And I like the idea that he is a famous black like filmmaker in today's world, except most of what he's done thus far has been an adaptation. Why keep going down that route? Like, why not try to expand your horizons and make something new? Like, why update something that most people have already seen? Like,
It's up to him, man. I mean,
it isn't up to him. It's up to the studio. Like, Oprah's paying for this. She probably wants to star in a version of Terms of Endearment and play the mother character. I bet you they're trying to get Denzel to be Jack Nicholson. Because why the hell wouldn't they? Who else is going to play the role, you know? Like,
Honestly, I am not at all that precious about this or really care that much. It's just they'll make it if it, like, worst case scenario, it ends up not being good and it'll be forgotten about. It'll be a footnote in history of like, oh, remember when they did a remake of that classic movie and it didn't turn out to be that good?
the worst case scenario.
That's all it would be.
Worst case scenario is that the movie is really good. Better than the original. And
that's a good thing.
No. And because of that, people are like, over time, they shit on the original. Like, if that were to happen. Like, that's what I would hate. Where it kind of, like...
People, like, in the case of remakes and originals, if one version is superior, then people are always going to shit on the other one no matter what it is. That's just people being retarded, you know, just...
I don't know. I got an issue with that for this movie. I think it's just in relation to when we saw the film and this information coming out. and when it came out, when it
I
was
think
right.
you had a different experience than I did with the movie, though. I like the movie, but we definitely saw different things in it, which are not at all like disagreements. It's just we had different experiences watching it.
Just I don't understand the purpose of a remake for that one, because like I said,
I don't understand a lot of remakes. Like, I truly don't see the point in the Matrix remake. Like, I
I'm okay
really
with that.
don't. You know,
Not a
I know
remake,
you are, but I
but
really like. And I'm
a
not. It's not even like
revisiting
so
of the
much
world.
about like, oh, it's you know, don't touch it. It's just like I really don't see the point. I don't think it needs to be done.
The concept.
It's science fiction. It's speculative. If we're getting closer to it, then you don't need to try to analyze now. You got to keep looking forward with science fiction and continue speculating. You know.
It's like I said when we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, when it was rumored to be happening. It makes sense to me in today's world. Like, okay, here's the argument. The reason a remake should exist is when you can update the story to work better for contemporary audiences. And with advancements that have happened in the last 20 years, in terms, especially in technology, the Matrix could make for a new version of the Matrix. Could make for
Matrix holds up theatrically, man.
no,
I've seen it
I'm
theatrically
not saying it
recently.
doesn't.
Like,
I'm just saying in terms of how they interact with technology, almost no one in the movie even uses the internet besides Neo. He's like a gee whiz, look at me, I'm special, Mary Sue, because he knows how to hack on the internet. Okay? But outside of him, you don't really see anyone who's plugged into the Matrix on any kind of technological device outside of like a standard dumb phone. And that just doesn't hold up today for a worldwide audience because of the way that we all use the internet on a daily basis. Whether it's in our pocket or in our backpack or on our desktop or on our TV or our fucking video game system, even when you're on
I
the bus.
understand your point. It's just for the sake of story. I don't see the point there. Like, it really it doesn't feel like you need to remake something just because you can have new tech in it.
I'm not talking about in terms of new tech. I think it completely changes the story and the structure of the Matrix and the way that these people that are being farmed are utilized.
I don't think so, because then there's other things to play, like, you know, what's the story, what are the characters in there, how do
There's a
people
bigger narrative. No,
perform?
there's a
There's
bigger
lot of
narrative. In the original films, the idea was these people are plugged into this virtual reality and they don't know they're in it and they're just living their lives. And that life is very representative of the turn of the 21st century. However, now, in the way that technology is an ever-present entity in all of our lives, even the poorest of people who might be only using technology at their public library, it means more from just an outside looking in kind of just you can speak on technology and the dangers of the internet and electronics when we literally have addictions to these items in our everyday lives. And so the concept, the paradox of everyone using technology all the time, while at the same time technology is using all of us and we're being farmed so the technology can exist, and yet in our day-to-day lives we can't exist without the technology, speaks leagues beyond what the Wachowskis were able to accomplish. Because while it is great sci-fi of the time, today, if you made the exact same film today, it would be
you naturally would change
crazy
things.
different. That's when I have a good feeling for a remake. That's when it makes sense to me. But when you make a movie set in the 80s, based in the 80s, when the original movie came out in the 80s, then it's not a remake. Then it's that version wasn't good enough for me. It was good enough for the Academy, but it's not good enough for the black people of the world. The black people of the world need to see this movie. Black Power.
I really don't care on this one.
It,
I really don't. It's going to happen. It'll come out. Hey, if it ends up being better, then so what?
so what is that?
The world gets a good movie out of it.
We already have a good movie. We don't need a better version. It's already a sentimental coming-of-age story about mothers and daughters and family.
I got the same feeling with The Matrix. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know?
In my opinion, it is broken now.
I don't think so.
If you had a kid and you showed them The Matrix...
You're more focused on the tech, whereas The Matrix, I'm more interested in the philosophical ideas on it. That's part of why I actually like the sequels.
That's what I'm saying. The philosophy has changed now, just given how much the internet means to all of us. In 1999, it meant nothing. It was like, do you want to play video games in your web browser?
The ideas are still there, and they communicate the same way. It's just you don't need to see a smartphone.
The final
to
image.
not understand something in there.
The Throughout the entire Matrix trilogy, people use
Yeah, there's phone
landlines.
booths. Yeah,
The final image of the first movie is him flying out of a phone booth. That does
yeah.
not hold up today. It doesn't make
I think it's
sense.
awesome.
Why would a very smart technological race create an entity where we think we're living in the real world when the technology that we're using is set in 1999?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it makes sense when you saw it. It's not going to
All right.
disappear. But I
And so
think
for a remake, what are they gonna do? They gotta think of something new, right? Unless they're fucking lazy and they're just gonna be like, oh, no, 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 do the landline thing because it's iconic and it's something that people like in the original, you know? Like, I see your idea behind it, but I don't even think they'd do that. I think they would just try to repeat it.
they would probably try to repeat
Because
it.
that's how fucking sequels
But,
work
you know,
now, or remakes. They just repeat shit.
Here's the difference between the two remake conversation right here. For terms of endearment, even if it's an amazing movie and everyone has a great performance and the HIV storyline is better than the cancer one and all of that stuff and it's just as good or even better, I have a problem with that because when it comes to a humane story, when it's about interactions with humans, you don't need advancements in technology or in color palette or better set direction or anything like that. It's still going to be the same story at the core. Whereas when it comes to The Matrix, and given that it's a Messiah story, it's basically about idols and prophecies and spirituality and all of those kinds of things. The story also doesn't have to be updated. But given that The Matrix has always been about, oh man, look how cool this sci-fi is, look at these effects, look at these gadgets, look at, these set pieces like the Nebuchadnezzar and the mechs and the bullet time and all of these things. Like, it was more for gun fu than it was for a lot of other things for most people, just in the way that it doesn't tie up all the loose ends, especially when it comes to the girl and the train station and the train station on the whole, for that matter, and a lot of different things in those films. Like, they are flawed. Like, every movie's flawed, but the sequels more so, just because you as a viewer, especially because you saw something so special at the time, and even still, you expect a lot. And then the Wachowskis didn't necessarily drop the ball, but maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but they didn't offer the continued vision that I was looking for, even if the action set pieces got better as more time progressed. But it shouldn't be an action franchise. I don't think that was ever what it was. It was more like I said, a philosophical wandering through the internet. And
I think that's still kind of there in the sequels. It's just, the
it's
third
weird.
one is definitely more of like an action finale.
But just like in terms of the French dude and his wife and that shit. Like, I still don't understand that.
I like those scenes, man.
I'm not talking about the scenes. I'm talking about, I don't understand the characters. Even still, like, if I rewatched it, maybe I would get it, but I don't know.
It is a lot to wrap your head around. Like, even then, I cannot tell you based on memory what it is right now, but I can tell you, like, watching those scenes, like, now, the older I get, the more fascinating I find what they're saying. If I really wanted to, I could go back and probably, try to, like, form my own opinion. And, like, there's video essays on there, like, on a lot of shit. And people have dissected the hell out of those movies that I cannot dismiss them as shit. Like, there's enough there that you can find
they're not
into
shit,
it.
but I am not averse to Warner Brothers revisiting the franchise again.
Yeah.
Revisiting is the keyword, not remaking. I don't want the Neo story. I've said this before. I do not want Neo. I do not want Keanu Reeves. Yeah, sure, give him a cameo. But I do not want a remake. I do not want the same story. Let someone else be the savior. It has a perfect setup for that by the final film rebooting The Matrix. That, yeah, you can totally reboot the franchise. New person, new story, new Matrix. They literally started over in the movie. Moving on, though, starting April 5th, this is really cool. That's this week, mind you. Twitch is going to follow up its Power Rangers marathon with a new marathon of its own, and it's going to be featuring Amazon Prime pilots. This is not the first time they are doing this. They did it last year with The Tick and Jean-Claude Van Johnson, but they're going to take it a step further this time. So it's going to be, in this order, Oasis, The Legend of Master Legend, and then Budding Prospects, and they're going to be running back-to-back for 24 hours. It's going to culminate, and this is where it's different, with Twitch Studios' first documentary titled Iron Sights, and I really want to watch this. It's a short doc that focuses on a female streamer on the way to compete in the Big Buck HD World Championship in Texas. It's surprising to me, too, in the press release, that Twitch isn't just home to a daily cooking show, which we've covered on the show before, but they also have this show called Fanboys that comes out on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific, which is basically this show. It's a live, interactive talk show that tackles like movies and TV and comic books and stuff, and you can literally chat and they'll talk to you while it's happening. It's like it's not uncalled for, but this is actually by Twitch. Like if you go to twitch.tv/Twitch, it's where they have their own in-house stuff. That's where they're going to be having this documentary, and then Twitch Presents is where the marathon's going to happen. But the Power Rangers thing was huge. Bob Ross, the French chef, not the French chef, whatever the fuck it's called. This is like the next step, and
Iron Chef. Or...
No, I'm talking about Julia Child.
Oh, yeah.
It's a French chef. I'm pretty sure it's a French chef.
Yeah.
That this is like the next step in what they're doing. I really think that this is the first time that Twitch Studios are making a nonfiction narrative. I'm gonna watch this documentary. It's like 22 minutes. It sounds awesome. Someone that literally streams on your network, who has her own channel, is probably also in a partner. That's interesting enough that you decided to film, a short documentary about her experiences as a streamer and also in a big event in her life, and you're putting it on the platform for which she streams. That means that the people that watch her naturally are going to watch this documentary. The people that are watching this marathon are going to incidentally watch the documentary just because. And then it also proves that you can make a good narrative out of people that use your content on a daily basis. And maybe I'm biased because, I am writing a screenplay about things related to this. But even still, this gives me kind of like a push to actually finish my screenplay, as it means that Twitch, and also by virtue of Twitch, Amazon is serious about Twitch, and they are funding the content. They're trying to make things with a narrative structure that I have hopes for, getting purchased or getting my script actually bought in some way. I might check out Fanboys this week. I want to see what that's like. I'm just curious because, it's the natural extension of this show. Like, instead of recording it live and putting it out live, what if you actually did it live? So I'm curious what that looks like. Here's the final news piece for the show. And it is about Amazon as well, but actual Amazon, not Twitch. And it's about Barry Jenkins, among other people. So he's going to be writing, directing an Underground Railroad series at Amazon. It's going to be limited, probably 8 episodes. It's adapted from a best-selling novel by Colston Whitehead. And tell me if this sounds familiar, but it's part of Oprah's book club last year. So that's a big get for them. He also has like an episode or two that he directed of Dear White People that's coming on Netflix in the coming months. So he's done TV before, but not like this. This is him doing the I'm doing it all way. Bigger than that.
He gets enough funding now, especially after Moonlight. Winning Best Picture. He can do whatever he wants, man.
Bigger than that, or equally big, I guess, depending on who they cast in that. But Nicholas Winding Refn, he has an Amazon show too. It's called Too Old to Die Young, and they just landed Miles Teller as their lead. So that's fucking big time. This is going to be a LA Underground crime thriller, because what else does the guy know how to do? It's going to be...
Well, now it's going to have to be less arty.
Yeah, than Neon Demon, yeah.
But
it's...
Or Only God Forgives is way more out there.
That movie is so fucking weird. I still don't know what I watched. It's like, why is Ryan Gosling in the Kung Fu Circle? Let's not try to think about it. But this is co-written by Ed Brubaker, who's known mostly as a comic book writer. He's done lots of different stuff, Captain America among them. So it's not Refn by himself. Maybe this one will actually have a coherent story. Hopefully it's good. I mean, I haven't watched anything on Amazon in a while, with the exception of Red Oaks. And so you got 2 big-name directors with some big-name talent here. And that's not even talking about the things that are still in the pipeline. You got that Robert De Niro, David R. Russell thing. You got the Yorgos Lanthimos, Colin Farrell show. They got a lot of people at Amazon, not just in the TV spectrum, but obviously the movies. They got a lot of people. Fucking what's his name? Todd Haynes. His next movie is going to be at Amazon. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it. They're doing it right. Like, Netflix might be encouraging. Like, they want more just breakout blockbuster stuff. They want the Adam Sandler things. They want Bright. Like, they want blockbusters. They want the Marvel shows. Like, they want to attract a mainstream audience, and that's perfect because that's what Netflix is always kind of encourage their viewership as. But Amazon is totally going, like, We want the Criterion collectors.
Yeah, like they're going for quality, and like Netflix is just kind of like, get the disposable movie of the week. It seems like.
That's kind of perfect for streaming though, because
Yeah, yeah, but it's like I don't. I mean, at the same time, it's like, well, what's the point? Why would I want to watch Netflix if it's something that I'm just gonna kill time with and not even remember?
I think they're equally important business models. Because if it was only artsy, we wouldn't give a shit. If it was only like throw it away
I
entertainment,
see the
we wouldn't
appeal in
care.
it, but it's like for me, I'm just kind of like,
So if
yeah.
Netflix is able to
It's part of the reason I don't have
if
Netflix.
Netflix is able to keep doing this and they realize that this is their audience, then that's perfect. It's going to be like just the best counter programming for Amazon. It already kind of is like that in certain ways,
Mhm.
and I kind of love it. Like I don't know where this is going. I don't really watch Amazon's TV stuff just because I mean I've seen the first two seasons of Transparent. I've seen 2 seasons of Red Oaks. But that's it. I've seen like one episode of a couple other things. John Cloud Van Johnson. I didn't even check out that pilot for some reason. I don't watch TV anymore. I'm
I don't either.
busy.
No, I just can't keep up on
Yeah,
stuff. Like I still got to catch up on Game of Thrones.
I gotta watch Stranger Things.
I mean, I got friends that just keep bragging about Big Little Lies.
Like I'll watch that
A lot of
eventually.
people like lost it for that,
I'll
man.
watch that eventually. I mean, as a great cast, I
And then there's Westworld.
and Westworld's passable. I mean,
Yeah.
like the first couple episodes are really good, but then when it builds up to where it's going, and then on that one you have like a whole year until the next season comes out. That you can wait for a little bit of time, and then maybe
Yeah.
even by then it will be on Amazon Prime because they also got that going for them. Like they got a huge HBO library among other things. Just in terms of the movies that aren't theirs, they have a better selection than Netflix has nowadays.
I think for Game of Thrones, I'll just do what I did with Lost, which Lost I just waited for the show to be done, and then I binged on it
No,
for
you
an
don't.
entire
You
summer.
don't want to do that with Game
And
of
that was
Thrones
fun.
because people are gonna naturally ruin it.
Oh yeah, no, they've been doing that, and I just haven't cared. Like after
This is supposedly the final season that's coming.
supposedly.
I like it's very short. There's 7 episodes down from the
Yeah,
usual
well, then the
10.
books aren't up to par yet. Now the show is ahead of the
Oh
books.
yeah,
So
by a lot. Yeah, last season
yeah,
the show is already ahead of the books. This entire season is past the books.
yeah.
So unless George R. R. Martin puts out the book in the next couple of months,
hmm
um,
Which is not very likely.
I think it's likely. I mean, what else does he really do? Like,
Work on the show.
he doesn't work on the show though. He writes on average 1 episode a season, but that's not hard to do when you've already literally written the material before you're just changing the
Yeah,
format.
but he's got to tell them where to go to continue with the story at
No,
this
he's already
point.
done that, man. Before they started the show, part of the way that HBO got it was that Weiss and the other guy, I forget the other guy's name right now. They were like, we love your books. We want to turn it into a TV show. And he said, "Who's Jon Snow's mother? What does this mean?" And they got both questions right. And he's like, "Okay, you can do it. And then here's the timeline for everything that happens in Westeros." And so because everyone's afraid that he's gonna die before he finishes writing the books, and so they have a total like master binder of everything that happens. Okay, like I heaven forbid he dies, but if he were to die, they could continue doing the show without him. Like they know exactly what's happening. Like that's
Yeah.
part of the stipulation of a TV show of this nature. Like when it's one of the biggest things on TV. I love like I would fucking hate HBO if this season they went you can binge the whole thing day one. Like that would ruin the event that it is. It's like one of the only event TV shows that's still out there. Like in the true sense of it. Like not Walking
hmm
Dead. Like do you actually know anyone that watches The Walking Dead?
Yeah, quite a few people
Like
still do.
like I know people that watch it too, but do you really care about those people's opinions on things?
It's the same people that watch Game of Thrones.
Really? See,
Yeah.
for me, there's people that watch Game of Thrones, and there's people that watch Walking Dead, and there's not really
Yeah, but
crossover.
they both air at different times though. That's the thing. Is that when Walking Dead is not on, then they go to Game of Thrones.
Mm,
TV wise, it's different as far as seasons.
I
Like Game of
can't.
Thrones has always been right after, or it airs right around spring,
Game of
and Walking
Thrones.
Dead is in
Game of
October.
Thrones is fantastical. There's sex everywhere. There's lots of funny characters and
Yeah.
moments.
It's Sunday night
It's
TV. It depends on the
it's
season.
huge budgets. It's a good time, and The Walking Dead is like a full hour of drama.
Yeah, people
We
love
know
both.
drama. Like, I'm surprised it's not on TNT, to be honest. Like,
People love
I
both.
don't know how. I've tried. I watched an episode of Walking Dead this season. It was the most boring shit I've ever seen. It is 100% not my tempo. Like, just
Yeah, I've tried. Like, I dug the pilot,
I
but
didn't
I
even
thought
like.
it was just
I didn't even
I
like
thought it
that.
was just a start, but then that's the same
Yeah,
tone continuously,
every
and it's
episode
not
is
that
that same
exciting.
tone.
Yeah,
That's what's
yeah, and
horrible.
I'm just kind of like, there's not much to it, man.
This is seriously all of The Walking Dead. We're a group of ragtag survivors. We got each other's back. Oh, I'm a bad guy. Oh, we gotta stop this bad guy because he's worse than the zombies. Let's let the zombies eat him. Okay, let's go. Let's continue now. Oh, there's
Well,
more
that's the thing.
survivors.
Zombies are good for social commentary. Slow zombies are good for social commentary, but an entire show on that,
That's
it's
the thing, though. In Game
yeah.
of Thrones, you got zombies. And the zombies are better than the Walking Dead zombies. I mean, that's
Talking about
speculation.
the Snow
Yeah, the
Walkers.
White Walkers. That's speculation. You know, I haven't actually watched Walking Dead. I can't actually say. But I highly doubt that they're as interesting. Because I don't think there's any backstory. It's zombies in the way that zombies are on in most media. Oh, when the hell is full, the dead will walk the earth. There is mythology in Game of Thrones that we're getting more of now. Like in this past season, we got information on why they're here and why they're coming, and this season is going to expand that. Like one of the production like images for this next season is a White Walker dragon. Okay, so that's awesome. That's gonna be cool. But that's the show. We hope you enjoyed it. We don't do just the news. We do other things. Dollar Reviews is a spoiler-free show where we do new things. We have, Camera Person and L from the last couple of years. La La Land, Green Room, Swiss Army Man, Logan, Suicide Squad,
Rangers.
Power Rangers. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff. Lots of years of stuff. You can check that out. Dead Cinema's our better show. We have The Tribe coming out at a future date and time yet to be released.
It's probably in May.
Okay, maybe in May.
Yeah.
We got Jesus Christ Superstar, which I really don't want to watch next week.
Why not?
It's a fucking musical. It's like not even musical. It's a rock
It's like,
opera.
it's weird. You just said okay, good. You got a topical pick. Now
No,
you
got.
don't want to watch
No,
it.
I don't want to watch it. I've seen it before. I know the songs, but you
Oh,
picked
okay.
it.
Well,
So
shit. I thought you didn't see
no,
it.
I've seen it. My parents were
crap.
watching the other night. Like I know the theme song. Jesus Christ, Superstar.
Well, God damn it! Now you make me want to rethink
Don't
it.
you know that you want to know? I mean, you could pick The Last Temptation of Christ.
See, I want to wait to see that on the big screen. That's why I'm holding off.
You could
on
also
that.
do. There's like one other one. There's
Yeah, it's tough to find Easter movies. Like I've seen most of them. You know,
Hop.
there's Ben-Hur, there's The Row. Why would I do?
I'm just
Hop?
saying that's an Easter movie.
Why would I do? No, you know what? Fuck it. I'm sticking with Jesus Christ Superstar just because. You know what? Hopefully the conversation's a good one.
I don't think it will be. I think
That's
I
my
think
hope.
you're gonna really
No?
not like the movie, and I'll be like, "Yeah, I told you," and then you're like, "What? The music was good." I'm like, "Yeah, at least the music is kind of good,"
All right. Well, we'll see, man.
because it is literally, like to a T as far as I am aware.
I can't find an Easter horror movie, Brian. I'm sorry.
I think-
I just can't find one.
I think Holidays has an Easter segment, which is on Netflix. But like to the best of my knowledge, it is essentially the Passion of the Christ, like the same exact story, but a musical. Except it's not just the Passion; it's the entire picture of being Jesus. I could pretend like
Well,
I've never
we'll
seen Dogma.
I've seen Dogma.
I'm saying I could pretend.
Many
I could
times.
pretend.
No, let's just do this one, man. It's because it should be interesting. I mean, it's different from most of the other stuff. Like a musical based off of on Jesus. Like what is that going to be like? I have no idea.
We could do a Hamlet too. No, so yeah, we got The Tribe and Jesus Christ Superstar coming out in the future. We already have The Fly and The Fly, both versions of that. It's part of our remake block, which also includes Father of the Bride and a guy named Joe. We did A Simple Plan and Wings, All the President's Men, A Bloody Valentine, as we talked earlier in the show, The Long Goodbye, also Terms of Endearment. I think we mentioned something else that we've done before. Lots and lots
There's
of
a
things
lot.
on that show.
We're over 80 now. There's a large back catalog.
Lots of things that you guys can listen. As I said at the top of the show, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WordPress, Tumblr. That's all at Dollar Reviews. YouTube also, but that's Dollar Review. no S, but if you search for us, you'll find us regardless. Google Play Music, iTunes, Podcast, Stitcher. If you go dollarviews.net, that's the easiest way. Twitter, you can send us something. Also, change the website in a minor way. So if you want to send an email to us, you can actually click a button on the page, and it'll send it right to me, which is kind of cool.
Is there a link to me?
No, I was only able to do one.
Oh.
And also, it would look confusing if there was, like, if you go to the website, you can see it, like, in the slide-out bar. It's still, there's a Facebook icon, there's still a Twitter icon, there's an Instagram one now, and then there's a mail icon. Like, they all have icons. It's not, like, weird shit anymore. And
Well, you can't click for me, so you can just email me at steve@dollarviews.net or Twitter S_MTX.
there you go, guys. You got it, and we got it, and you guys have a good one.
Take care.